and Volume 4, Further Witness Affidavit of His Excellency Honorable Rigathi Gachagua. The Deputy President also forwarded video and electronic evidence. By a letter dated 14th of October 2024, MS Swanya and company advocates addressed to the Clerk of the National Assembly and copied to the Speaker and the Clerk of the Senate, the advocates informed the Clerk of the National Assembly that in the message dated 8th of October 2024 and the accompanying documents forwarded to the Senate by the Speaker of the National Assembly and served on the advocates, an affidavit sworn by Mwai Madhenge and Njoroge Regeru was missing and was crucial to the evidence of the Deputy President. There have been exchange of documents pursuant to Rule 8 of Part 1 of the second schedule to the Senate Standing Orders. On Monday, 14th of October 2024, the Clerk of the Senate furnished the National Assembly with the documentation filed by the Deputy President on that day. Similarly, the Clerk of the Senate furnished the Deputy President with the documentation filed by the National Assembly on that day. And further documentation that was received by a letter dated 15th of October 2024 addressed to the Clerk of the Senate and received on 15th of October 2024, MSG and A advocates indicated that in the course of reviewing the bundle of documents, they noticed that a few of the pages between 135 to 140 in Volume 4 of the bundles were either illegible or were inadvertently omitted in the course of photocopying. I have therefore reproduced and forwarded a copy of Volume 4 to the National Assembly bundles with the missing pages included. The hearing program of the impeachment trial of the Deputy President began with a pre-hearing meeting for senators, National Assembly representing the National Assembly and their council, and also there was the introduction of His Excellency the Deputy President and the council representing the Deputy President. The charges were read, and the Deputy President pleaded not guilty to the 11 charges that were leveled against him and forwarded to the Senate for consideration by the National Assembly. We'll rule on whether to allow the objection that was raised by the Deputy President through his counsel that opposed the inclusion of CIS to represent the National Assembly, and so the defense wants the senior counsel to recuse himself from the proceedings this afternoon. The Speaker will give a ruling after the National Assembly has given its response. If you're just joining us, in a few moments the Senate will resume its sittings where it is hearing the impeachment case against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. We'll recap the charges that were leveled against the Deputy President, among them gross violation of Articles 27, 4, 73, 1A, and 2B, among others. The other ground with the proper discharge of county government's constitutional functions regarding alcohol control and regulation. His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua's insightful and demeaning public statements and conduct are impeachable offenses to the extent that they undermine devolution, they undercut the functional and institutional integrity of county governments, they unjustifiably vilify and ridicule the leadership of county governments, especially the Nairobi City County Government. Consequently, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has grossly violated Articles 6 Subarticle 2, Article 10 Subarticle 2A, Article 174, Article 186 Subarticle 1, and Article 189 Subarticle 1 of the Constitution, as read with the fourth schedule to the Constitution. Ground 4, gross violation of Article 160 Subarticle Independence. The Deputy President made a scathing public attack against the Honorable Lady Justice Esther Maina, Judge of the High Court of Kenya, and falsely threatened to file a petition for the removal of the said. The judge had presided over a case in which His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua was a party and had, in the lawful performance of a judicial function, ordered His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua to forfeit to the state the sum of 200 million shillings, which she had found to be proceeds of corruption. Part B of that ground is serious reasons to believe that the Deputy President has committed a crime under national law pursuant to Article 150, Subarticle 1B, Part 2 of the Constitution. Ground 6, serious reasons to believe that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has committed crimes under Section 13, 2, 3, 4, and 7 of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act. That for the past 2 years, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has inexplicably amassed a humongous property portfolio estimated at 5.2 billion shillings, primarily from proceeds of corruption and money laundering. The value of the property and wealth that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has acquired over the last 2 years is incompatible with his legitimate income, that is 12 million shillings per annum or thereabouts. That His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has acquired the above mentioned property and wealth using his Section 29 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. The Sergeant at Arms is announcing the arrival of the Speaker of the Senate, signaling the commencement of the afternoon sitting where the Senate is trying the Deputy President. Now I will hand you over for the live broadcast. My name is Edward Kabasa. Enjoy your viewing.
Na tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, tutakusihi tutazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Uaminifu ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Clerk, do we have quorum? And you proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, communication from the chair.
Now, honorable senators, this morning, at the commencement of the hearing for the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Legal Counsel for the Deputy President, Mr. Ndego Njiru, Learned Counsel, raised a preliminary objection on the legal representation who is the serving governor of Siaya County and therefore a state officer. Learned Counsel submitted that the Honorable James Orengo is a full-time serving state officer, as per Article 260 of the Constitution, as read together with Section 26, subsection 2 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, which bars the full Leadership and Integrity Act, as well as the decision of the High Court in Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions versus Orengo, Manduka, and two others, interested parties, Constitutional Petition 204 of 2019-2021, KHC 456 KLR, that the continued representation of the first interested party, Mr. Manduku, by the respondent, Honorable James Orengo, as then was, or any other state officer is against the spirit of Chapter 6 of the Constitution for failing to conform to the mandatory provisions of the Leadership and Integrity Act. The judge ruled that in that case, there was an inescapable conclusion of conflict of interests in Senator Orengo, for whom the matters in respect of which his client was charged could potentially come for adjudication in the Senate, and that no possibility exists into the current matter with Honorable James Orengo as the governor of Siaya County. In his rejoinder, Mr. Njiru, Learned Counsel, submitted that Honorable Orengo is the serving governor of Siaya County and therefore a full-time state officer, and by that fact alone is a violation of Article 77 of the Constitution. Further, Mr. Njiru submitted that prejudice is not one of the applicable tests under Article 77 and Section 26 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, but that the only applicable test is whether or not Honorable Orengo is engaged, but also a high-ranking member of the leadership of the National Assembly, and by extension of the same parliament before which the impeachment was being undertaken. It was ruled that in these circumstances, it was clear that in the minds of the public, the fine distinctions of the bicameral parliament would be lost, and their confidence in the impeachment process would entirely be undermined. In the same breath, as rightfully contended by counsel for the Deputy President, it is true that in both Article 77 of the Constitution and Section 26 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, no test of prejudice is expressly provided for. It therefore follows that both the contention of the counsel for the Deputy President that his side will be prejudiced by the appearance of Senior Counsel James Orengo and the rebuttal by the National Assembly that no prejudice will be occasions are moot. Honorable Senators, ladies and gentlemen, having analyzed the preliminary objection raised and for the reason I have given, the preliminary objection raised on the
material that came from the National Assembly, a report of a public participation that was conducted by the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, sir, that report was tabled on the floor of the House, was adopted by the House. Deliberations in relation to that report were made. Not a single object. Material from public participation became a necessary part of the material that was considered before the National Assembly. To give it context, Mr. Speaker, sir, in addition to the material that was present component of that report, there must have been a reason why that public participation was conducted. In our humble submission, Mr. Speaker, sir, the appropriate test that one would want to apply on whether or not to allow that material to be before this honorable House is the all-celebrated test of relevance. Mr. Speaker, sir, it should not be lost that sitting as this House is sitting this afternoon, it is a quasi-judicial proceeding. It is a proceeding that is also inquisitorial. And so therefore, what is important is that the material that is presented by way of public participation or by any other way is relevant to help the House determine the truth or otherwise or contained or that would give clarity to part of the assertions in response by His Excellency the Deputy President. Mr. Speaker, sir, for context, that part 1.1 is contained in volume 6 of one of the volumes that were presented before you. It is the volume speaking to the response by His Excellency the Deputy President. At part 1.1, Mr. Speaker, sir, it speaks about a hotel called the Olive Garden Hotel. In particular, at part 1.1,
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your kind permission, I was just seeking your guidance whether I need to do a rejoinder because I'm the one who had moved the assembly in respect to the...
Very well. You may go ahead as I put my thoughts together.
Thank you very kindly, Mr. Speaker, sir. In response to what my question or the objection had nothing to do with the public participation beat or to attempt to panel beat the case for the National Assembly. The question and the test, Mr. Speaker, sir, is, shall we suffer prejudice? Shall our rights be deemed to have been held? And that is the non-derogable right to a fair hearing. This is not a witness who was before the National Assembly. Where is the source of this information in the document that was submitted to this House by the Speaker of the National Assembly, where the same is admitted? Is it a state organ or an individual in the name of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya?
On the 9th of October 2024, pursuant to Rule 6 and 7 of Part 1 of the second schedule to the Senate Standing Orders, the Office of the Clerk of the Senate sent invitations to appear to both parties. The parties were required, amongst other things, to specify any other evidence to be relied on this matter. I will repeat that. The parties were required, amongst other things, to specify any other evidence to be relied on in this matter. In response to this invitation, on Monday, 14th of October 2024, the National Assembly filed further documentation. Having analyzed the documentation submitted against the grounds for the proposed impeachment, I find that the documents objected to constitute evidence in support. Honorable Senators, having dispensed with the preliminary matters in this particular hearing, we will now move to hear the... Yes, Counsel for the National Assembly.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your very kind permission and indulgence, we, as well, on the part of the National Assembly, had two quick preliminary issues which we wanted to draw your attention to, Mr. Speaker, sir. They are quick housekeeping issues. If you permit me just in 2 minutes, I may be able to draw them to your attention. In relation to the bundle of documents that we have filed before this House to help it determine the matter that is before it, in particular, we have one of our documents, or one of our volumes, volume 4, as a document presented before this court, before this Honorable House. Mr. Speaker, sir, when we were perusing our documents earlier today, actually yesterday, we did realize that one of the documents in that volume 4, running from page 135 to 140, appears to have been inadvertently copied just on one part. In other words, in the course of a printing, we missed out the even numbers and just printed out the odd numbers. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have since availed that document. It is not a new document. The only thing that I'd have to Speaker, sir, and with your permission, we urge that we be allowed to rely on that document. We filed it, Mr. Speaker, sir, and served it to our colleagues, counsel appearing for His Excellency, the Deputy President, as well as to the House, that it may be relied upon. That is the first preliminary intervention that we seek. Mr. Speaker, sir, the second issue is in relation to a letter that we did to yourself on the 14th of October 2024, wherein we sought the help of this House through your office to have summons issued to the CEO of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission for purposes of helping give testimony to matters that are before this House. Mr. Speaker, sir, the reason for us seeking
Mheshimiwa Speaker, Honorable Senators, with regard to the first request, which I understand to mean that when they were photocopying, some pages were served on us, and what those pages that are now being introduced contain. With regard to the Republic of Kenya, elected by the people of Kenya, nothing would be more prejudicial than to call witnesses whose statements or affidavits we have not seen. The whole purpose of affidavits and witness statements is to enable the other side, in this case, the Deputy President, to seek legal advice, to give instructions on how best to respond to it. And this Honorable House has fixed 2 days for this trial. And one of the issues we'll be raising is these allegations, and you are going to go through them, against the Deputy President, suspicions, conclusions, on matters that were never referred to that application.
Counsel for National Assembly.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in brief rejoinder to the objection by learned senior counsel for the Deputy President. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the invitation to attend that was extended by this House to the National Assembly, the invitation included a request as to a list of witnesses the National Assembly required summoned. We responded to that request, and Mr. Speaker, sir, all we seek is a confirmation that our response has been actioned. What to a request made by this august House. I'm most obliged.
Counsel for Deputy President, do I get it that you have no problem with the first request made by the National Assembly?
Mheshimiwa Speaker, we would want to see those pages. And that time we'll be able to say yes or no. It is the second one.
Clerk, has that document been made available to the Deputy President's team? Kindly, in the next few seconds, make it available so that we make progress. Honorable Senator, let the chair know so that we supply you with that document. Senator Mazayo, Senator Olekina.
Mr. Speaker, sir, if I may.
Senior
Speaker.
Thank you for your wisdom, Senior Counsel. Now, the other name that has been raised is on the issue of summons to witnesses. Now, if you look at our rules of procedure, more particularly rule number 10, which provide as follows: this particular matter, the Deputy President invite or summon any person to appear and give evidence before the Senate. So the summons that have been sought are in.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, to place it on record that the rules of this Honorable Senate must and have to be respected. But even above respecting the rules of this Honorable House, our Constitution has to be respected. Article 50, the right to a fair trial, which in terms of Article 25C, Mheshimiwa Speaker, you will remember, you are aware, that is a right that cannot be compromised in any manner. There has been no explanation why the EACC was never asked to investigate the allegations before they were tabled before the National Assembly and before a decision was taken, because the National Assembly cannot investigate criminal offenses. In fact, Parliament said a conviction is necessary. And now you want to reverse the will of the Kenyan people in electing that you are the one sitting in the seat of power. Your word is final. I have said what I've said. Your rules are subject to the Constitution. I accept your ruling.
Now we'll move to the second limb of this hearing. Honorable Clerk, you may now proceed to call the next order. Summons to issue to those witnesses.
Order number 2, hearing and determination on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, EGH, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya.
Now, honorable senators, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move to the opening statements. Each party will have exactly half an hour to make their opening statement, starting with the Counsel for the National Assembly. Your time starts running from now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and honorable members of the Senate. Indeed, speaking for us, this is a very momentous occasion in our history. That the first impeachment of a deputy president in the Republic of Kenya was undertaken by this particular Senate. And we come here to the process of impeachment as understood under our Constitution. Indeed, the Senate has handled so many impeachment proceedings in limited and but it should never be lost that this is the trial court, if I may put it that way. And we also come here knowing that the Senate now is a repository of the law in regard to impeachment of governors and deputy governors, that this should be an exclusive matter to be dealt by the Senate. Having said that, I was advised by the leadership of our National Assembly, who are clients, to read a certain passage from the Bible. I think I have a copy here. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I had to carry this particular Bible. I was so advised. And this is, I read the language is a little bit more palatable. You must not oppress, or you must not exploit widows or orphans. If you do so in any way, and they cry to me for my help, I shall surely give it, and my anger shall flame out against you, and I will kill you with enemy armies, so that your wives will be widows and your children fatherless. This is the Lord of the Old Testament. Now, I will come back to this matter later, but for now, and in Kenyan, the Kenyan people having given themselves this constitution, they were addressing rights and fears, and more importantly, they wanted to establish a system of government that can work. And with that, I want to take the Senate to Article 75 of the Constitution, just to draw the attention of the House of the seriousness of the matter we are dealing with, which is provisions in relation to oath of office of state officers. 74. Before assuming serve the people of Kenya, that is the Republic of Kenya, and it continues to say as follows, that I will diligently discharge my duties and perform my function in the said office to the best of my judgment, that I will at all times, when so required, faithfully and truly give my counsel and advice to the President of the Republic of Kenya, and that I will do justice, 3 words, in the oaths and affirmations for due execution of office, which are found in the 3rd schedule, are not contained in similar words when it comes to the Speaker of the Senate, the Speaker of the National Assembly. Come out, and I say this with utmost respect, that the Deputy President who stands here on trial by the Senate would assume that he was elected to represent the interests of a certain region. Whereas the Constitution is clear, he's elected by the whole country. He's got no area to protect. Under the old Constitution, the President had to be elected from a constituency, a Vice President had to be elected from a constituency as a Member of Parliament. This Constitution has no similar provisions. And now, when you come to the functions of the Deputy President, and I think this is extremely important in the kind of relationship that there should be between the President and the Deputy President, it says so in particular institutions or organs, like the National Security Council. So one would wonder where even the issue of the Director of Intelligence would be discussed in a public forum by the Deputy President when he is the second in command in the National Security Intelligence as established under where his brother was admitted in ICU. When he arrived the next day, he prevailed upon his brother to execute a will. That was on the 17th of February, 2017. In that trip, they have only 30 minutes. If you look at volume 4 of this document on public participation, from page
Volume 4 of the National Assembly.
Of the National Assembly.
Pages?
Pages 114. Yes. And in fact, this page is also called Tend the Will. And the Deputy President is the one who is relying on this will. The death certificate is contained on page 119. The deceased, the brother of the Deputy President at that time, was his daughter, was the only person present. And then there's the will, and in the documents on page 128 by Mr. Madenge, and part of it is what Mr. Njomo was saying.
Counsel for Deputy President, just have your seat. When your time comes, you'll be able to make the rebuttals. Proceed, Senior Counsel.
How many minutes do I have?
Mr. Speaker, I respect your direction. I'm willing to take a seat right away, but just to point out something. The document you are being referred to is the document our consideration. That's number one. Number two, Mr. Speaker, you remember that my learned colleague talked about how my client traveled to London, how without talking to any doctor. These are factual claims, Mr. Speaker, that are just coming from the bar. Mr. Speaker, number three, the opening statement speaks to the motion and the grounds in the motion. I beseech this House direct that parties restrict themselves to the motion and the grounds in the motion. The facts you are now being referred to have no basis in the motion and the grounds in the motion, unless Senior Counsel, His Excellency Governor Rengo, can draw your attention to any ground in the motion that those facts are not addressing. I repeat what I said, Mr. Speaker. The ruling is...
in fact...
Counsel, I cannot tell you how you're going to make your opening statements. If you're going outside the allegations, that's up to you. The senators are here listening, and they'll be able to make the necessary decision at the end of it. Now, Senior Counsel Orengo, there's an environment that you've made that the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, on a certain date that you indicated, traveled to London.
Yes. The evidence is...
his sick brother.
Yes.
And on the side of the sickbed, he made his brother sign a will. Is that contained anywhere in the...
In London, was not money coming from him, and evidence will show that he was raiding monies that truly belonged to the estate of his late brother to acquire property. If that is not an offense by law, these were proceeds of crime committed by the Deputy President to acquire property. And to drive this point home, the judgment by Justice minor, which is also part of the record, where he found in an account with a financial institution in excess of 200 million shillings. When he went, he issued a press statement in Mombasa after the president himself had issued a statement that went contrary, absolute insubordination to the president, who is his boss. And if really one can talk about insubordination, that was an act of insubordination. Lastly, the other issue that I need to bring out quickly is that the Constitution and the Senate is aware of the fact that a basis for allocation of resources here in the Senate, and they abide by certain principles which are contained in Article 203 of the Constitution. This issue about the role of Senate is different to undertake oversight over those who are given a responsibility, the role of any other agency or body created by the Constitution. Your role is to demonstrate to all people in state offices that this oversight role that you play, whether it is that of impeachment, to demonstrate to the people of Kenya that it is not cosmetic. And where there's evidence, like the evidence that we are showing and adducing before you,
of office before you assumed office to discharge the functions of senators. You have to bear true faith, and allegiance to the people and the Republic of Kenya. You have to obey, respect, uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of Kenya. And you have to faithfully and conscientiously discharge your duty. Submit respectfully that process. At a more significant level, what is on trial throughout these proceedings is the resilience and steadfastness of our Constitution, our constitutional institutions of checks and balances, and actually their capacity to withstand any form of waves and pressures. That is what is truly to keep in mind, that we have a constitution, a constitutional order, and a constitutional democracy to protect as we conduct these proceedings and as we make decisions in these proceedings. Our constitutional democracy and our constitutional order emerge stronger. Extraordinary wrongdoing, that the conduct of a state officer will be investigated, and even then, only upon sufficient proof of the allegations that the impeachment, removal, or recall would be warranted. Two questions we pose must constantly linger in your minds, distinguished senators, as you undertake the assignment now before you. Question number one, we beseech you to bear in mind the question, is there credible evidence of extraordinary wrongdoing on the part of His Excellency Honorable Rigathi Gachagua before you? Number two, is there sufficient proof of the allegations leveled against His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua? You will find absolutely no ground supported by those allegations. Let me disclose here. It is designed to whip your emotions. It has no other purpose. Looking at your oath of office that I've alluded to, there is no room for your emotions to be whipped as the basis of decision-making in any act that you engage into in the discharge of your constitutional mandate and responsibilities. What does our Constitution expect of the mover of the Assembly? Secondly, the mover of the motion is thereafter expected to supply credible evidence of an extraordinary wrongdoing and sufficient proof of the allegations against the deputy, having problems with this House when he's called upon to account. It is the submission of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua that the motion now before you has fallen short of the threshold set by law by multiple miles. When you examine the material before you, you will discover that it will oscillate between the following categories of stages. One, you'll have material before you that just plainly false. Then from falsehood, it will go to the ridiculous ones. And I'll demonstrate that shortly. There'll be ridiculous claims here. Then finally, it will end up into embarrassing claims. Allow me, in the few minutes I have, to just do a no statement, no affidavit, no correspondence from any official of the Kenya Tea Development Agency is before you. No complaint to any agency, no complaint to this parliament by any official of the Kenya Tea Development Agency is before you. It's just a claim which the mover of this motion said before the National Assembly, and surprisingly, to those of us who have some residual faith in our institution, he told the National Assembly, we got a joke lifted a notch higher. The National Assembly actually just believed his word for what it is. No evidence. Nothing in the affidavits before you addresses anything about the Kenya Tea Development Agency. Nothing in the 5 affidavits before you. Let's progress, good people. Paragraph 72 of the motion before you states that His Excellency has persistently undermined, demeaned, and committed insubordination instead of assisting the President. And let's face it, Mr. Speaker, sir, distinguished senators, if you accuse somebody of insubordination, the only person who can complain of being insubordinated is the supervisor. No statement from the President, no affidavit from the President, even no witness summons to the President has been sought here. To call him to complain, he has been insubordinated. The Deputy President, when he received this motion, wrote to the Secretary to the Cabinet, requesting to be supplied by all assignments given to him by the President and any that he has not delivered. At paragraph 64, paragraph A of the impeachment motion, you will be told that His Excellency, the Deputy President, said that he would present a petition for the removal of Justice Esther Maina from office, which he has not done to date. Mr. Speaker, sir, my eyes are normally problematic, so I will not know the time allocation.
15 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, sir. The claim is that His Excellency publicly said that he would present a petition for the removal of Justice Esther Maina from office, which he has not done to date, by His Excellency, the Deputy President, before the Judicial Service Commission. So the mover of this motion first has perjured himself in his affidavit by saying that each of these facts are correct, when this fact is false, by evidence available. You will find His Excellency falsely threatened to file a petition for removal of Justice Esther Maina. How can the Deputy President be accused of falsely threatening when in fact he has filed the complaint? Where is the falsehood when there is a pending complaint? That complaint is before you in the Deputy President's documents for your own perusal. I began by saying they'll move from the false through the ridiculous to the embarrassing. At paragraph 78C, you'll be told that His Excellency routinely summons procurement officers in ministries and state institutions Kenya Medical Supplies Agency officials into awarding a tender for the supply of mosquito nets to Crystal Limited. Good people, Crystal Limited was not even a bidder for that tender. He pressurized people to award it to somebody who is not even a bidder for that tender. I observed it will move from the false through the ridiculous to the embarrassing. Those of us who understand this motion for what it is, understand why these panel beating maneuvers are being tried here. The motion as presented and approved by the National Assembly will remain in our constitutional history as the most embarrassing motion ever approved by a House of Parliament in the Commonwealth. Reasonable has meaning known to law. I submit very respectfully that this falls short of the definition of the word reasonable suspicion. I submit it actually gravitates towards unreasonable suspicion. Now let's look at this. You'll be told that His Excellency has acquired 40 acres of land in Kakuret, Kamburaini in Nyeri. Evidence before you will show that this is land that the Deputy President in fact bought from a current member of the National Assembly. So he knows that member. In 2015, before he even joined state office as a member of parliament, you are told that the expensive renovation of his official residence in Karen and Mombasa. What will shock you is this, good people. The contract for the renovation of the official residence of the Deputy President was signed by the controller of State House. Unless the move of this motion wants to make a claim that the Deputy President conspired with the State House to have this contract executed. Number two, it will be known to all of us as members of Parliament that the money for renovation of this official residence was approved by the National Assembly. Is the National Assembly conceding that it approved money for unnecessary expenditure by government? How can the National Assembly approve money for use for renovation of the residence of the Deputy President, then after that money is used for the intended purpose, the renovation of the official residence of the President, now drag the Deputy President for impeachment for the reason of that renovation? I said it will move through the ridiculous to the embarrassing. You'll be told that the Deputy President has a helicopter landing facility at his landing pad on that farm, a small parcel of land with napier grass, unless the mover of this motion can now convince us that new technology has emerged, that napier grass is the constructing material for landing pads for aircrafts. That's the only way it can make sense. But because they're embarrassing. Now let's deal with it. You'll be told the Deputy President has amassed a wealth portfolio amounting to 5.2 billion shillings. Elementarily, we must then look at the particularization. Tell us which one is what plus, with nothing in this motion telling us. So what wrong has Dorcas Rigathi Foundation done? What act are you complaining of for that company? What omission are you complaining of in respect of that company? Heartland Supplies Limited, you just find a name of a company there. No wrongdoing is alluded to it. No allegation is made against it. They're just companies thrown there. Distinguished senators, the Romans called their assembly, which was the equivalent of this Senate, the patres. It was an advisory council. That name was derived from an old Latin word meaning father. Before you as a most consequential motion, perhaps in our lifetime, is false, is ridiculous, is embarrassing. I rest the governor's opening statement.
That is the Deputy President, Council. He's not the governor.
My apologies, Mr. Speaker. I have been here multiple times on governors, and I think that is what was reigning in my mind. I rest the Deputy President's opening statement. My apologies for that.
Very well. Now, honorable senators will now move to hear hours to present its case, meaning all the witnesses, evidence in chief, cross-examination will be given 2 hours. The legal team led by the National Assembly. Clerk, you may now usher in the first witness of the National Assembly. You may proceed. Counsel for the National Assembly, where are your witnesses coming from? They're taking too long.
I think they must be in room 4, Honorable Speaker. Our first witness is the Honorable Ekomas Mwingi Mutuse, who was the mover of the motion.
Are you sure he's not deserted you?
It is always a risk in this type of business, Honorable Speaker, but I'm sure he's around.
So, Counsel, before you proceed, you first introduce yourself and the team.
Yes, for the record, Honorable Speaker, my name is Mudhomi Viankolu. I'll be doing the exam in chief on behalf of the National Assembly. I shall be assisted in that enterprise. Can you tell the Senate in very condensed summary what is the grievance you have raised against His Excellency the Deputy President?
Honorable Speaker, honorable senators, on our ground one allegation against the Deputy President is that he has violated various articles of the Constitution that we have listed, being Article 10.2a, 10.2b, Article and C, Article 27, Article 73.1a, Article 732b, 75.1c, Article 129, as well as Article 147.1 as read together with Article 131.2c and b.
This shortly, but are the utterances you complain about consistent with that constitutional provision?
Definitely not at all.
Let's go quickly to Article 10. What does it say?
Article 10.1. The national values and principles of governance in this article bind all state organs, state officers, public officers, and all persons whenever any of them, A, applies or interprets this Constitution, B, enacts, applies, or interprets any law, or C, makes or implements public policy decisions.
But, Honorable Member, someone would say these are just utterances and we surely can't remove a Deputy President from office because he has a loose tongue or something like that. What is the problem with these utterances?
During the post-election violence of 2007 and 2008, there are examples within the region. Rwanda, Burundi is still struggling. As we speak today, Congo is fighting. Across the globe, Yugoslavia, there has been problems, Bosnia, all these countries. And they all began from utterances of this nature.
So is it your testimony, therefore, that utterances of the type we're about to see are a threat to the very existence of Kenya as a republic?
Indeed, that is my testimony.
Is our lived history consistent with the submission that those are not utterances that should emanate from the Deputy President of the Republic?
Not just the Deputy.
You placed any evidence? You say the Deputy President has been doing this for 2 years. Have you placed any material to prove this allegation?
Yes. We have placed videos, evidence in the form of videos that have been recorded in meetings where the Deputy President has been attending, being video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4, video 8, and
wavune ile tabaki kidogo, wale wakupanda waingie watafute huko nini ile tapatikana wachukue wakwende. Si iko namna hiyo? Na itakuwa namna hiyo. Ndio watu wakipiga kura waelewe hii kura ni kusema nini. Hii kura iko na maana. Nyinyi hamwezi piga kelele huko, mpige kelele. Mnasema William Ruto ni bure, hawezi, mnaita yeye majina, alafu akipata, akigawa, mnapiga laini atimuko pale mbele. Ati mnataka mpite wale walisema anafaa atimukue pale mbele. Inawezekana?
Those utterances consistent with the national value of human dignity in Article 10B?
Not at all.
Are they consistent with the value of national unity in Article 10A?
Not at all.
Are they consistent with social justice in Article 10(2)B?
Not at all.
What about inclusiveness?
Indeed, they are divisive.
What about equality?
Not at all.
What about non-discrimination?
They are very discriminative.
What about protection of the marginalized?
They do not protect the marginalized, they marginalize them further.
We could go on and on, sir. Are those utterances consistent with any of the articles you claim in ground 1 have been violated?
Not at all.
Let's play video.
President Rigathi Gachagua again brought up the political shareholding narrative, saying the Kenya Kwanza administration will prioritize Kenyans who voted for it in the distribution of government employment slots and development projects. Well, Gachagua spoke in Nandi County, where he led other government officials in a church service and thereafter a fundraiser at Kurgung Boys High School. Ayub Abdikadir reports.
Mosop constituency in Nandi County offered Gachagua a platform to amplify his narrative about the government being a shareholding entity that apparently belongs to those who voted for it, calling on the people of Nandi County to remain patient as the state works on development projects and employment opportunities that would prioritize Kenya Kwanza supporters.
Rais ako pale. Niko hapo. Huyu Felix ako hapo. Rais mnamjua. Mimi mnanijua msimamo yangu.
Rigathi Gachagua was in President William Ruto's Rift Valley backyard on Sunday, where he presided over a fundraiser in aid of Kapsabet ACK Church. And here, the DP made it clear that he was not backing down on his shareholders' gospel that has left a bad taste in many people's mouths.
I am unapologetic to demand and to insist that those who believed in William Ruto and supported him to a man have every right to benefit immensely from his government. I have no apology.
Let's play video number 4, 8, and 11 in that sequence.
Serikali, a government is like a company. There is shareholding. Kuna wale who have invested a lot of shares. Kuna wale wameweka kidogo. Wewe unatakiwa kwanza ukuwe mtu ya kwanza kukamua hiyo ng'ombe na kukunywa maziwa. Serikali, a government is like a company. There is shareholding. Kuna wale who have invested a lot of shares. Kuna wale wameweka kidogo. kuna wale wamekataa, lakini wote ni wa Kenya. So ndio tukasema kama wewe umeenda kupanda mahindi, ama wacha nipeane example ya ng'ombe kwa sababu niko Kajiado. Wewe uko na ng'ombe yako ya maziwa. Hiyo ng'ombe imezaliwa ikiwa njao.
We can go to the next because we see an element of repetition. Let's go to the next video.
Tuweze kupeleka taifa letu mbele, tuondoe umaskini, tupange ajira ya hawa vijana, tupunguze gharama ya chakula na tupange mambo ya maendeleo ya Kenya, tutengeneze nchi ambayo kila Mkenya anajivunia kuwa Mkenya.
So, Mutuse, you know we could play these videos on and on. Unfortunately, time is not with us. But please confirm that you have presented before Senate utterances made by the Deputy President on this theme in Kitui. Is that correct?
That is correct.
In Nandi, is that correct?
That is correct.
In Kericho, is that correct?
That is correct.
In Kajiado?
That is correct.
Please confirm it is in public domain. These utterances have been made in very many other places. These were just illustrations.
Indeed, I suspect they have been made even in the counties represented by the senators seated here.
Have these been isolated aberrations, or has it been a consistent campaign and mantra by the Deputy President? We have seen him saying he has no apologies to make, notwithstanding that these utterances, to quote the media house, were leaving a bad taste in the mouths of many people. Is that correct or incorrect?
Yes, he is very loudly clear that he has no apologies to make for referring to Kenya, for saying Kenya is a company belonging to shareholders for the benefit of the shareholders.
That defiance and the stance that he has no apology to make, does it depict the deportment of a man or a woman who should be the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya?
Not at all.
But you heard his counsel say that there must be some extraordinary.
He also differed with the then president and did the honorable thing and resigned from government.
Those were the first two vice presidents. Daniel Arap Moi was at that. Do you know of any incident where Daniel Arap Moi was moving around this country as vice president, committing this type of wrongdoing?
No, not at all.
How about Josephat Karanja?
Not at all.
How about George Saitoti?
Even when he was sacked, he continued being loyal to the government of the day.
How about Musalia Mudavadi?
In his short stint, nothing is heard about him undermining his boss. Not at all.
So when we are told there is nothing extraordinary about this wrongdoing, is that consistent with the lived reality of Kenya?
There is everything.
Anyone be heard in good conscience to say that this is not extraordinary misconduct?
Indeed, this is very extraordinary, requiring impeachment.
Please confirm, because we are pressed for time, that the evidence you're relying on this ground applies equally to allegation number 5 of your motion.
Just a minute to confirm.
What is your complaint in allegation number 5? Allegation number 5, Mr. Speaker, will be at page 16 to 17 of volume 2.
Allegation number 5. Just a minute. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, our allegation number 5 relates to gross violation of Article 3(1) of the Constitution and Article 148(5)(a) of the Constitution, which specifically is in relation to the breach of the oath of office and to discrimination.
Are the utterances by the Deputy President likely to trigger any of those things?
Yes, indeed.
As a matter of fact, Honorable Mutuse, That law you just read, national cohesion and integration, wasn't it the law Parliament enacted to ensure we never go back to where our country was in 2007, 2008 because of utterances like this?
It was pursuant to the post-election violence, and the country resolved that we needed a law as a result. And therefore, it is a law that is supposed to ensure that we in office live to promote national unity and not the opposite.
Given that history and why that law exists, sir, we repeat the question. Has the Deputy President committed urging the Senate, if you consider the evidence so far, adducing them together to save on time? Let's go to allegation number 7, sir. Mr. Speaker, that allegation runs from pages 17 to 31. It was the one you were told runs from falsehoods, culminating in the embarrassing, and bringing up this matter, or it is the...
I never mentioned any of my deceased relatives. I have them, but I never mentioned any. The Deputy President is the one who mentioned his deceased relatives.
He's actually the one who has brought this material, isn't it? Can you tell the Senate in summary, we are so pressed for time, what is...
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, under ground number 7, our allegation is that there are serious reasons to believe that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has committed crimes under Section 45(1), 46, 3, 4, and 7 of the Proceeds of Crime and the Money Laundering Act. And in short, during the short period that I was doing research on this motion, I have come across properties that are registered in the name of the Deputy President or in the name of his children or other proxies that run cumulatively to a value of about 5.2 billion. And there is no clear trace of where the monies to purchase those properties came from, and therefore...
You have attached Form CR12 to your motion.
Indeed, I have attached Form CR12 being evidence of ownership of those companies.
Would that be the Form CR12 on pages 8 all the way to 32 of Volume 2A?
Indeed, yes.
Honorable Speaker, it's Volume 2A, pages 8 to 32. It actually begins, Honorable Speaker, it's me who is mistaken. It's from page 1 to 32, right?
Indeed, yes.
And because we are stressed for time, sir, did the Deputy President issue a public address on the 7th of October in which he admitted acquiring these 2 hotels?
Yes, indeed, and it is part of our evidence.
So with that admission from him, can we be here to say your allegations are false, ridiculous, and embarrassing?
That is not expected from the son of Mau Mau.
But let's go to page 33, sir, of your volume 2A.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I've been patiently waiting and restraining myself from
Pause the time for the National Assembly, please. Proceed, Council.
I've been constraining myself when listening to the...
Let's go to page 37. What is that document you have annexed, sir?
The document I've annexed here is the transfer instrument, transfer to companies and limited liability partnerships.
Yes.
It is it's a document ordinarily that is used to transfer
interest in what?
Interest in property from one party to the next.
And who is acquiring that property according to this document?
The property is at this time, but when he became Deputy President, he gave it to his children to run it. And he goes further to say of Kenya.
Has he actually placed before this Senate evidence of the disbursement of any such loan?
I have seen a letter of offer for that loan, but I have not seen any evidence of disbursement nor any charge in respect of that loan.
Is a letter of offer loan evidence that a loan has actually been given?
A letter of offer is just that, an offer.
That letter is annexed of offer, says that as security for the supposed loan.
Which volume?
The letter of offer, Mr. Speaker.
Which page? What page?
It's in volume 6.
Is in volume 6, starting from page 98.
Yes, walk us through that letter of offer.
So there is a letter of offer, meaning there was an application for a loan. And this is to the directors of Crystal Kenya Limited, Crystal Kenya Safari Lodges, and the loan is in respect of an amount of 600 million. And in the clause for lien and set-off, I have seen that a lien and set-off or fixed deposits, this is on page 99, in respect of INO, Crystal Kenya Limited.
Or the 300 million, or the 535 million. As the deputy president in his response offered any legitimate explanation of how he or his very young sons came upon this incredible fortune of money?
Nowhere in the response, other than the letter of offer that is in itself not evidence of acquiring a loan.
At page 39, who are shown as the parties to this transaction for Abadea's Hotel?
Page 39 of
The Leadership and Integrity Act, faced with facts like this, is he allowed to hide behind any of his relatives?
Not at all.
What about his spouse?
Not at all.
So even if the Senate were to accept, for argument's sake, that this company is run by the sons and whatnot, would that, based on our Public Officer Ethics Act or the other act, which is the leadership, and would that be a valid answer to this unexplained wealth?
Section 35. Yes, we are here.
Again, this is documentation for that same property the deputy president admits he acquired, right?
Yes, through Abadea, just for contextualization, Abadea owned 2 hotels.
Yes.
There is Treetops Hotel.
Yes.
And there is...
There is which one?
Outspan.
Yes.
Outspan is the one that we have demonstrated how it was purchased. Treetops is a property developed by the...
Let's pause at it is owned by the Kenya Wildlife Service.
Yes.
Is the Kenya Wildlife Service a public or a private entity?
A public entity funded by the taxpayers. But we are going to demonstrate that he actually transacted with KWS.
And KWS is a public entity?
And KWS is a public entity.
If this hotel were to be leased or sold, or whatever the language, would there be a requirement for open, competitive, and transparent bidding?
Section 45, which we said we have reasonable grounds to believe that the Deputy President has breached of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act. And I'm reading volume 7 at page 23, states as follows: payable to any public body or effects or obtains an exemption, remission, reduction, or abatement from payment of any such taxes, levies, and fees. Section 46, about abuse of office. A person who uses his office to improperly confer a benefit on himself or anyone else is guilty of an offense.
Now, let's go to page 81 of volume 2A, sir. It's still about Treetops Hotel.
Page
81 of volume 2A.
I'm there.
Can you read for us?
This is a letter from the Kenya Wildlife Service.
Yes.
To Mr. Amos Kisilo of Kisilo and Wandati Company Advocates.
It's a letter dated when?
The letter is dated
at the top left. What is the date?
5th of June, 2023.
Was His Excellency, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of Kenya on that date?
Yes.
It is addressed to who?
It is addressed to Kisilo, Wandati and Company Advocates.
In the Deputy President's own response, is that law firm indicated as one of the law firms he uses?
Yes, indeed.
Good. Now read for us the second paragraph of that letter, beginning with the word however.
However, the tenant is in rent arrears of Kenya shillings 35,481,548, and lodge has not been operational since 2019, which has resulted to deterioration of the same in breach of the lease agreement.
So we are being told this hotel, a number of things. One, it has not been in operation for 4 years, correct?
Indeed.
And as a result, it has accumulated rent arrears, correct or incorrect?
And deteriorated, which in effect means it requires renovation money.
Now let's go to a letter by the Deputy President's lawyers.
This indeed is a letter by the Deputy President lawyers, but funny enough, against any all professional knowledge in terms of how you write letters, they do not disclose their client. They just say,
we act for a party. Who is our, does that letter disclose the identity of the client anywhere?
No, it doesn't, and it is a requirement that you must disclose the client even as you move ahead.
Is that how lawyers usually write letters in honest, genuine transactions?
Not at all.
Good. Now let's go.
And I am one of them, so I know.
83 of volume 2A. What is written there?
At page 83 is a letter to Dr. Kanga, Director General Acting, Kenya Wildlife Service from Aberdare Safari Hotels.
So, Mr.
It is about Treetops Lodge debt.
In 81, we are told the hotel has not been in operation for 4 years, and that's why it's in rent arrears, right?
Yes, rent arrears of up 611 to KRA for 2% withholding tax.
So, Honorable Mutuse, what do you have to tell the Senate of the fact a company that was in arrears for 4 years, 35 million, it is in distress, it's not in operation, the Deputy President shows interest, and suddenly it is able to pay these arrears of that 5 million?
The Deputy President must be magical. Associating with the Deputy President must be very magical, because you have not operated for over 4 years, you are in debt, you have not been able to service that debt for 4 years, but you have just interacted with him for a month.
Mr. Mutuse, about Treetops, you know, false, ridiculous, and embarrassing.
Come again?
The evidence you just taken the Senate through about Treetops Hotel, is it consistent with the narrative of a move of motion who makes ridiculous, false, and embarrassing claims?
Not at all. It demonstrates that our allegations are not malicious. They are backed.
Let's go to his response in volume 6. It should be page 8, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Speaker. Or
volume 6 on page and also that he bought it for 3.5 million.
That document.
This is a document transferred by personal representative to person on intestacy. Basically.
And who is given that transfer? Who is making it?
A certain Naftali Guandraru Gadhogo.
Can you read the opening line of that document?
Public Trustee of the Republic of Kenya, of PO Box 49672 Nairobi, as personal representatives of Naftali Garandau Gadhogo, deceased, hereby transferred to Hannah Gadhongo Mugo. Absolutely.
Who is the public trustee?
Probably.
She signed or affixed a thumbprint?
A thumbprint.
On the face of it, does that look like a privileged or vulnerable and marginalized Kenyan?
The very vulnerable.
Mr. Speaker, sir, kindly allow me again to bring to the attention of the Assembly that the advocate is leading the witness. He has put a question. Does that, in your own imagination, look like a vulnerable person?
Objection sustained. Counsel for National Assembly, stop leading the witness.
I'm much guided, Mr. Speaker, so we'll proceed. We're on page?
We are on page 44.
Response disclosed that this property initially belonged to a deceased person.
No.
Did he in his response disclose that this property was initially vested on the public trustee?
No, he didn't.
Can you read paragraph 1.4.2 of the Deputy President's response?
I purchased the land in the year 2023 for Kenya shillings 3.5 million for my farm proceeds. Some of you are aware that I have dairy farm with close to 200 cows.
Now, let's see who is saying things that are embarrassing, false, and ridiculous. What is the price he has said he acquired it for in that page?
3.5 million Kenya shillings.
Let's go to the agreement he has attached to show how he purchased this property. It is at page 63 of the same volume.
I am here.
Clause number 3, what is given as the purchase price? That consistent. Volume 6. We are holding, Mr. Speaker, volume 6, pages 4 and 63. No, it is page 4 of 534 and page 96 of 534. Relying on his own document to accuse you of presenting material that is false, ridiculous, and embarrassing.
It is not fair, and also, especially when one of our allegations against the Deputy President is that he consistently misleads the public.
He says that he bought it in the year, back to page 4 of 534, in the year 2023. Was that during his tenure as Deputy President?
Indeed.
He says he has a dairy farm there with 200 cows.
Indeed, he says so.
In his presser on the 7th of October 2024, what did he tell the country was the source of these 200 cows?
If I remember correctly, in the televised address by the Deputy President on that fateful night, he did say that the Kalenjin people of the Rift Valley have gifted it.
Again, the Deputy President's response. Yes. Let's go to, first of all, volume 6, which is the Deputy President's response. What does he say about the Olive Garden Hotel? In summary, it's clause 1.1.1 all the way.
For clarity, Council, so
yes.
We leave the issue of Meru, we come to
The President's response.
We made an allegation that the Deputy President has bought Olive Garden Hotel initially owned by his late brother. And in response, the Deputy President said as follows. The allegation that I own Olive Garden Hotel is false. The truth is that Olive Garden Hotel used to belong to my deceased brother, the late Honorable James Rigathi Gachagua, and therefore has never been my property. This is information that most of you may be aware of, as it is in the public domain. Upon his demise, my late brother left a will in which, in his recognition that I am an honest man of his estate.
Now, is the DP's response about Olive Garden, which runs from page 2 to 3, consistent with the affidavit in the National Assembly's Volume 8 by Peterson, Jomo, Mushira?
Maybe so that we can point members. On Volume 8, we have the affidavit of Mr. Peterson, Jomo, Mushira. And
tell us in summary, because we are so pressed for time.
Peterson Jomo Mushira says, I have personal knowledge of one of the issues raised in the special motion for the removal from office by impeachment of Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President. I have personal knowledge of the facts relating to the sale of Olive Garden Hotel, which initially formed part of the estate of the late Rigathi Gachagua. Given the matters set out in the preceding paragraph, I am competent to swear this affidavit. I decided to swear this affidavit after my attention was drawn to contradictions between the contents of Part 1.1 on pages 1-2 of the response that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua filed at the National Assembly on 8th October in opposition to the special motion for his removal. B, remarks made by Honorable Okomas Mwengi Mutusa when prosecuting the motion at the National Assembly, and remarks made by Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah at the National Assembly. Remarks made by members of the Assembly.
Let's go to the next paragraph in the interest of time.
I wish to clarify and state as follows. I am a shareholder and director of TM Civil Engineering of the Deputy President's response to the motion. On around 31st of March 2023, the Deputy President approached and convinced me to purchase the Olive Garden Hotel, which was at the time part of the estate of the late Rigathi Gachagua.
Let's go to D.
In D, he averred that in summary...
Now let's go to C.
No, C. The Deputy President persuaded me to enter into an informal secret arrangement, regarding the transaction embodied in the agreement annexed on page 10 to 34 of his response to the motion. In summary, the terms of the secret agreement were that, 1, the Deputy President would buy the hotel from me by refunding the purchase price of 412 million set out in the agreement annexed on page 10 to 34 of his response. 2, the Deputy President would instruct and pay a contractor to renovate the hotel after the completion of the transaction embodied in the agreement. 3, to protect the Deputy President's undisclosed this document is a public service.
Johnson Mushira said in his affidavit about Julian Jahenda.
It shows that Julian Jahenda is a staff and a close associate of the Deputy President, and she's the same person who was seconded to manage his interest at the Olive Garden.
With a honest man as written in bold font in his response.
It is indeed consistent with our allegation that His Excellency the Deputy President raided the estate of his late brother and acquired properties directly and through proxy.
Lastly, from me, so that Mr. Wanyama will wrap up, let's go.
Because they were not named as executors of his estate.
So is this document on its face consistent with his defense that this hotel belongs to his late brother?
It flies on the face.
But let's see whether he actually acquired it. Let's go to volume 4, page 107 of 484.
I am at volume 4. Next, the form CR12 in respect of Kuruwitu. The directors are Vipingo Beach Resort Limited.
But let's also interrogate.
Vipingo Beach Resort Limited, which we have demonstrated that is owned by Honorable Rigathi Gachagua's children.
Back to volume 4, page 111 of 484. Can you read at the top the sentence that begins with, for instance?
This is, we are at page 111. And this
484, Mr. Speaker, volume 4.
This is still, this is for, so that we, This is still the joint will executors report. And at the top there, at page 111, for instance, the sale of Kuruitu Beach Resort cottages and Olive Gardens Hotel was done after beneficiaries were appraised in the meeting of 24th June 2023, cited herein before. Significantly, the beneficiaries themselves in their meetings with one of the executors, underline one of the executors, approved the sale of Kuruitu Home Resort to one of them, underline one of them. Who is also an executor, underline who is also an executor.
Who is the executor and beneficiary being referred to here?
The only executor and beneficiary of the late Rigathi Gachagua's estate is named in the will for Rigathi Gachagua.
Where is this property located, Honorable Mutuse?
Vipingo Beach?
Yes.
Should be somewhere in the coast.
Back to page 107 of volume 4. In his response, as the deputy president explained where he got the sum of Kenya shillings 250 million to purchase this property.
In fact, he denies buying the property.
Mr. Speaker, I will cede the floor now to my learned friend, Mr. Wanyama, to prosecute the remaining grounds of the motion.
Cabinet communique, as you are aware, after every time there is a cabinet meeting of the 30th April 2024, where the cabinet passed a resolution to evacuate members of the public for their own safety from the 30-meter riparian zone of the Nairobi River.
Yes.
And when that decision was made, insofar as I understand processing of business in the cabinet, the deputy president sat in cabinet. The deputy president is one who chairs cabinet subcommittees which process business before going to cabinet. And therefore, to my own understanding, he was fully involved in the making of that decision. However,
okay, just to cut you short because of time, the allegation is that the deputy president has been undermining the president.
Yes.
Do you have evidence in your motion that support this allegation? Have you annexed any videos to prove this allegation?
Yes, indeed.
Video number?
We have annexed video number 10. Video number 10.
Video number 10.
And also video number 10.
What does video number 10, what is it all about?
Maybe they can play it for honorable senators to see for themselves.
Can you play video number 10 briefly? Mr. Speaker.
Watu ya Kayole, tangu mtupatie nafasi ya uongozi, sijapata nafasi ya kuja kusema asanti. Nataka kutoka kwa roho yangu, watu ya Kayole, asanteni sana. Mimi najua, nimeona iko shida ya watu ambaye walibomolewa, si ndio?
Maybe you can,
na nimeona mumeandika vizuri
Mr. Speaker, sir, because of time we are
ya
requesting you play
kwamba mteue kamati ya watu wachache
ndio
1 mkuje niketi na nyinyi.
1.25
Mutakubaliana?
Because of time.
Mimi ningetaka wale watu ambaye walipata shida hii ya ubomoaji, ambaye ni kitu tulikuwa tumeahidi wananchi haitafanyika kwa serikali yetu. Mimi ningetaka niwasikize na nitapanga na Mheshimiwa Meja Dong wakuje ndio tukue na nafasi ya kuongea.
Let us not have a war with wananchi. Tusipigane na wananchi wale walituchagua. Let us be empathetic. Let us, if people must move, let there be an engagement and let people get adequate notice so that they can prepare for their next life ahead. You can't wake up one morning.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we can stop there because of time. The video has been submitted as part of the evidence from the National Assembly. Honorable Mutuse, let's go to ground number, allegation number 3, ground number 3 very quickly. What is it all about? What is your complaint in the Senate? in ground number 3.
Our complaint.
Why do you say so? Briefly.
Over the alleged mistreatment of traders in the city. And as Citizen TV's Melita Olatenges reports, the latest rupture in the relations between the two have been compounded by the broader tribulations of Gachagua, who sees himself as being sidelined by the Kenya Kwanza State House.
2 years ago, downtown Nairobi, in the thick of the campaign trail. And fast forward to this on Friday.
No one should imagine that we will suspend devolution in Nairobi from anywhere.
A stop.
So Honorable Mutuse, is that act by the Deputy President impeachable?
It is impeachable in the sense that the 2 levels of government have been assigned their roles and their functions. Much as they are independent, they also respect their functional independence. And that if the county government makes a decision, it is upon them to implement that decision. You would realize, much as Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya, cosmopolitan, when the Deputy President went there, he addressed Kenyans.
Issues at a marketplace like this?
It is not consistent. The expectation.
Honorable Mutuse, what do you understand by the word gross? You're using it in a context, and I think it is important you explain briefly. What do you understand by the meaning of the word gross?
My understanding of gross violation of the Constitution, I don't know whether I will be speaking in my knowledge as a lawyer or just as a...
Just give your opinion. What is gross? It goes into the answer there.
I think gross violation of the Constitution, the best would be found in the Wambora decision.
Okay.
The Wambora decision did define what gross violation of the Constitution means.
Yes.
And it is said it is the violation of Article 10, Article 1, and several articles of the Constitution. I do not have the particular citation, but to my mind, I think it's paragraph 46 of that decision.
Okay. So let's go back to allegation number 4, ground number 4. What is it that you're complaining about in this ground? In summary.
We are complaining that the Deputy President did threaten in a manner that displayed
the decision that you are complaining about.
The judge said that in the upshot, the originality motion is granted in terms of prayers 2. This is page 77 of 123 in our volume 2A. That a declaration is hereby issued that the following funds are proceeds of crime and therefore liable for forfeiture to the state. And they are listed there, 165 million held in a certain account at Rafiki Finance Bank, 35 million in the name of Rigathi Gachagua.
That the Rigathi Gachagua at the time had.
Administration is making good on its threat, with the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now filing a petition to push for the
various arms of government.
Invited Kenyans with complaints over the conduct of judicial officers to submit their lamentations to her office. The Kenya Kwanza administration, through Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, has taken the challenge, with the DP announcing that he will file a petition this week.
Amechallenge sisi tutoe ushahidi. I will lead by example. On Thursday, this coming week at 2:15, I will personally present a petition before Lady Chief Justice Martha Koome against Justice Esther Maina for her removal from the judiciary for misconduct and corruption. Mimi mwenyewe nitaongoza. Because
extraordinary, Mr. Ongoya said there's nothing extraordinary about your complaint.
My complaint is extraordinary in the sense that the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua was not complaining about the judiciary. He was complaining about a specific judge for a decision that she made, a finding that she made against him. It was not about corruption in the judiciary. It was not about inefficiency in the judiciary. It was not about how the judiciary runs. It was about huyu judge alisema mali yangu ni mali ya wizi.
Now, in that public statement, the Deputy President says he has evidence on corruption against Lady Justice Maina. In his response filed before this House, have you seen any evidence adduced for corruption against Lady Justice Esther Maina?
I have not seen any evidence to show that indeed he has evidence of corruption influencing the judge to make the finding that...
His Excellency, Rigathi Gachagua, have you seen any appeal decision setting aside, any order setting aside a judgment?
The consent is there, but there is no decision on merit from the Court of Appeal.
Okay. Honorable Mutuse, let's go to ground number 8, allegation number 8, and briefly explain to the...
Maybe before we leave there,
yes.
It is important in terms of, because we are complaining about Article 160,
yeah.
For me to just read 165. A member of the judiciary is not liable in an action or suit in respect of anything done or omitted to be done in good faith in the lawful performance of a... As we have shown evidence, it was personal vendetta because the Deputy President was at one in terms of the particulars. His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua recklessly and unmindful of the high calling and dignified status of the office of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, as well as his membership to the National Security Council and Article 240 of the Constitution, both being positions of national crisis, addressed Kenyans on live television in Mombasa County and publicly made sensational statements against the National Intelligence Service, an essential national security organ, its Director General and the officers.
Has now agreed that we need to listen to the people. And I sympathize with my boss, President William Ruto, because this information was not available to him. I know President William Ruto. Had he known 2 months ago that the people of Kenya did not want anything to do with the Finance Bill 2024, he would not have asked his parliamentary party to push it through. Yet, we have an organization paid by the public to give him and government such information. And that is where the problem is. We have a dysfunctional National Intelligence Service that has exposed the president, the government, and the people of Kenya. Had the National Intelligence Service briefed the president 2 months ago about how the people of Kenya feel about the Finance Bill 2024, so many Kenyans would not have died. Property would not have been destroyed. Offices would not have been touched. There would have been no mayhem. But they slept on the job. It had to take people to die, property to be destroyed, protests across the country for the president to know the truth of what the people of Kenya feel. Yet, there is an organization paid for by the public to brief the president and the government about the feeling of the Kenyan people. Officers of the National Intelligence Service, officers of the National Police Service have told me in confidence they did not get advance intelligence briefs about the magnitude of the protest in Eldoret, in Kericho, in Nairobi, in Githurai, in Embu, in Nyeri. Since independence, there has been protests around Parliament. Never have protesters invaded. They did not have an advance intelligence brief about the intensity of the protest so that they prepare in advance. The National Intelligence Service slept on the job. And the problem is simple. The Director General of the National Intelligence Service, Nuruddin Haji, was a junior officer in the National Intelligence Service before he was appointed as DPP. When he was appointed to the office of the Director General, because of inferiority complex, he chased away all the people who were senior to him when he was in the service, therefore crippling the capacity of that service and making it dysfunctional. 3 directors to desk jobs in ministries.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we can pause it at that because of time. We've captured the parts. Now, Honorable Mutuse, The Deputy President recently addressed a press conference where he rubbished this allegation. He said it's pure hogwash, nonsense upon stilts. What is your specific complaint against the Deputy President in this allegation?
Two specific complaints. One, the Deputy President is a member of the National Security Council. And if he has any complaints against the National Intelligence Service,
yes,
who also sit. Number two, this was a time of monumental crisis in the Republic of Kenya. And the statements were sensational and they would have made Kenyans to believe that our security organs are not functional and would have easily led to citizens running amok and the Republic getting torn apart and our national fabric getting destroyed completely. But even more importantly, I had learned counsel Ongoya refer you to your oath of office. And I would wish that he also refers his client. Office that the Deputy President took on ascension of office, it states as follows, that I will not directly or indirectly reveal such matters as shall come to my knowledge in the discharge of my duties.
His press statement the other day, he said, even in other countries, the US, stable democracies, it's not uncommon to see heads of intelligence. Your comment about that specific remark.
Even in our country, it is not uncommon, but it depends on who is doing it.
Mm-hmm.
The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya cannot behave in a manner that disparages the institution. I've said earlier, under Article 240, the membership of the National Security Committee is number one, the President, and number two, the Deputy President.
Okay.
And the National Intelligence Service is a member, and therefore that can be canvassed behind closed doors in a formal way and a decision made so that we do not break down our institutions, instead we empower them.
Which article of the institution are you referring to? Where the National Security Council is established?
Article 240, if my mind serves me right.
Okay.
And we can read it if we have time.
Civilian authority, and therefore not immune to criticism.
Article 240, establishment of the National Security Council. There is established the National Security Council. The council consists of the President, the Deputy President, so is a member by dint of Article 240.
Okay, okay.
He says they are subject to civilian authority.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of Article 1.
Okay. Yeah, because of time, let's go to the last allegation. Last allegation. That's ground number 11. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. Can you explain to the senators your specific grievance about this ground?
It is we are saying that the Deputy President has committed gross misconduct by bullying state officers.
What's specifically? Specific ground on that gross misconduct that you
we are
want
saying that
to take into consideration.
His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, at that time, the peers in charge of public health and the CEO at KEMSA were dismissed by CEO, also saw an affidavit to this regard. And the problem here was that there is a company, an Indian-based company, called Shobika.
Shobika.
And Shobika, because we have been told we are bringing in a company that was not part of the tender. In the evidence of the Deputy President, this company called Shobika is represented locally here in Kenya by a company called Crystal Kenya. And that is by the admission of the Deputy President himself in his own response, that they could submitted their bid bond outside the tendering period. So when investigations are going on, the Deputy President, who admitted live on television, called Dr. Andrew Mulwa, the acting CEO of KEMSA, and told him, I have sent my people, please give them that bid bond. And he said he did it because the people were wondering. And then we have annexed messages, WhatsApp excerpts, in the affidavit of Dr. Andrew Mulwa that is contained on page 67 to, in the volume, if you go to volume 1, page 67, all the way to just and pressured me to surrender to his proxy the original bid bond submitted by Shobika Impex Limited for the above tender. He told me that he would send a proxy to collect the original bid bond. He goes ahead to state, Dr. Ikino Rigathi, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua's son, called and sent a WhatsApp message from mobile number indicated, claiming to be acting for and on behalf of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua's. He asked for...
Honorable Mutuse, where is that WhatsApp message exhibited so that we can end up?
Go to page 70.
Page 70.
Go to page 70.
Page 70 of your volume.
You will see it was assigned to Rigathi Gachagua, and the message says as follows. Hello, Dr. Ikino Rigathi here. Kindly conduct...
3 hours. So, Counsel for the National Assembly, you have 45 minutes to conclude your case, to do re-examination and call the other witnesses and do re-examination in 45 minutes. That is the time remaining. Now, Counsel for the Deputy President, you have 2 hours in total for cross-examination of all witnesses that will be presented. So you may choose to use all that with this witness. You may now proceed to cross-examine the witness. Your time starts running from now.
Our next witness is so-and-so.
That's a presentation first, yes.
Let's call all the witnesses and do cross-examination.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I noticed that this is Ongoya for the Deputy President. We have 2 hours. Sorry.
Mr. Speaker, there is a request from our side which we hope will find favor with you. Our next witness, by which time you'll have taken a breather, then we come to his cross-examination. But I leave it to your discretion.
Give him a seat, and he'll be cross-examined while seated.
Much obliged, Mr. Speaker.
Our request is that the schedule allocates us 2 hours for cross-examination in total and 3 hours for our evidence in chief tomorrow. We beseech that without compromising that time, we put 3 hours on cross-examination, which will eat from our time tomorrow, our own time, so that we'll have 2 hours to deal with our evidence in chief.
That is not in line with the directions that I've given. You have 2 hours for purposes of a cross-examination of these witnesses.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We will proceed. Honorable Mutuse, I will refer to you as Honorable Mutuse throughout, and for the benefit of the senators, we will actually contemplate.
A lawyer.
You're a lawyer by profession. You therefore understand the substantive laws and the procedural laws of this country. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, it is.
I would take a few minutes examining you, then I will release you to my learned colleagues, Mr. Swanya and Mr. Masharia, to take you on a number of issues, but allow me to start with the issue of Justice Esther Maina. You are aware, being a lawyer, that by law, you are bound by the allegations you presented to the National Assembly. Are you aware of that?
Yes, we are bound by the allegations in the context of the rules of the Senate and the other laws. That he did present a petition.
To that extent, that allegation is not true, yes?
To the extent of presenting the petition, but to the extent of threatening the judge.
To the extent that he will say he has not presented the allegation to the GSC to us at 26 September 2024, that allegation is not true, is it?
We are in agreement, Counsel.
Thank you. You therefore understand where we start from by saying it starts with falsehoods. Do you understand that? Any evidence to the contrary when His Excellency says the judge denied him a chance to cross-examine witnesses?
I do not have to.
Do you in fact have it, Mr. Honorable Mutuse? Please be decent as a lawyer, a lawmaker, and a witness before this House.
I do not have,
Honorable Mutuse,
I do not have.
questions that you either say yes or no.
Thank you. Thank you.
You then say you are aware that there was an appeal from the decision of Justice Maina. Do you confirm that as a fact?
Yes, I am aware that there was an appeal that was...
I'm happy with that answer. Let me make progress. That appeal isn't a lawful way of settling disputes in court, to your knowledge as a lawyer.
It is a lawful way, but it is not a settlement.
You have answered my question.
I am by merit or demerits.
Is a consent a lawful way of settling court disputes before a court of law? By a court of law?
It was adopted, yes.
Shouldn't that present a presumption of legality until you present evidence the contrary?
Indeed.
Thank you. Allow me to move to a second element. The videos in respect of the evictions along Nairobi River, I trust that was video 9 and 10. I'm just trying to recollect. Let's have video 9 played from the technical side. Mr. Speaker, may I have video 9 played?
Is it on?
Mr. Speaker, I would urge that the time taken by the technical people to play my videos is frozen because I have no control about it.
No, that cannot be the case. Otherwise, we'll continue freezing time.
Mr. Speaker, may I direct the people in the gala, in the technical side?
We had a similar problem when the Counsel for the National Assembly was leading the council, the witness and evidence in chief, and time wasn't frozen. So we're going to be fair. We're going to apply the very same. Can you pause the time for...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Counsel for the Deputy President. Is it a video that had been played previously?
Yes, there are the two videos in respect of the evictions along Nairobi River. They were played here seamlessly when the Assembly side were presenting their case.
Very well. Do you have your technical person at the control room?
I wouldn't be able to establish at the moment.
Please do confirm that your technical person is also in the control room.
Mr. Speaker, may I move to some other thing, then I'll proceed with the video later. I'm going to start my turn of thought.
Proceed, Counsel.
Thank you so much.
Yes, in the motion, those are the two grounds.
Let me start with rather. Confirm that you allege that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has influenced his family members, allies, associates, and proxies to take control of a local cooperative society in Madeira, which they are financially hemorrhaging. Is that what the motion claims?
It does claim it. So.
Confirm that you have not given us the name or any evidence of that circle. Have you?
Let us not have a war with wananchi. Tusipigane na wananchi wale walituchagua. Let us be empathetic. Let there be an engagement. And let people...
Yeah, there is a problem up there. Okay, proceed, and then at the time you wish the video to be played, you will let us, the senators know. Proceed.
Let us not have a war with wananchi.
The team at the control room.
Let us be empathetic.
Secretariat, can you move to the control room and tell them to
let there be
wait.
An engagement. And
Thank you. My apologies. Yes.
Thank you so much for that comic moment. You also want this distinguished Senate to find the deputy president to have taken over the control of this unknown circle. Now, this is my element, through undisclosed family members.
Indeed, it is my desire that the motion is upheld.
Yeah.
Very well.
My apologies, I didn't get the answer. I didn't get the answer.
I know.
Thank you. You find of taking over an undisclosed circle a serious expectation on your part. Thus, to find the deputy president to use unknown family members to take over that circle, a serious expectation.
Indeed.
You take your work as a member of parliament seriously?
Very seriously.
You respect your constituents who brought this by this expectation you have just mentioned here?
In fact, the whole country is discussing my motion.
I'm asking whether you are manifesting your respect for your constituents by the...
Watu ya Kayole, tangu mtupatie nafasi ya uongozi, sijapata nafasi ya kuja kusema asanti. Nataka kutoka kwa roho yangu ndani, watu ya Kayole, asanteni sana. Mimi najua, nimeona iko shida ya watu ambaye walibomolewa, si ndio? Na nimeona mumeandika vizuri ya kwamba mteue kamati ya watu wachache. Haya ni kitu tulikuwa tumeahidi wananchi, haitafanyika kwa serikali yetu. Mimi ningetaka niwasikize na nitapanga na mheshimiwa Meja Dong wakuje ndio tukue na nafasi ya kuongea.
Let's pause there.
Tumekubaliana.
The deputy president is saying he wants to listen to those people so that together they can talk. Is that what he's saying?
Ambayo ni kitu tulikuwa tumeahidi haitafanyika kwa serikali yetu.
No, you didn't get my question, Mr. Mutuse. Please be a good listener. Just as Madong, I didn't get the name right. And those people so that they can sit and talk. Is that what he's saying?
In context, yes, that's part of it.
Is there anything wrong with that statement?
There's nothing wrong with people sitting.
The deputy president is also saying that please answer my question. Do you have a problem with a call for empathy?
I have no problem with the call for empathy other than...
Let me move to the next question. Do you have a problem with a deputy president calling for empathy in public?
I have no problem other than the forum.
What forum was that, by the way?
This appears to be a press conference.
What law prohibits a deputy president from calling for empathy at a press conference?
The law is that you raise all those issues in cabinet.
Which law prohibits a deputy president from calling for empathy at a press conference?
There is no law that prohibits a deputy.
Thank you so much. Let's make progress with the playing of the video.
If people must move, let there be an engagement.
Thank you so much. What is wrong with that statement? If people must move, let there be an engagement. What is wrong with it?
There is nothing wrong with having engagement.
Thank you. You are a lawyer, you said?
Yes.
You know the principle of public participation?
Let's make progress. Let's make progress. If a witness is evading questions, please note that. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, you are right in that ruling, save that he's doing fair hearing where he has to have adequate time, which means time managed economically.
Proceed.
Did Cabinet approve unempathetic or empathetic evictions?
Cabinet approved evictions in public interest.
I'm asking a different question.
Empathetic.
Did the Deputy President call for empathy or lack of empathy?
Empathy.
Is that call by the Deputy President consistent or inconsistent with the Cabinet resolution?
Inconsistent.
Did Cabinet approve a resolution not to engage citizens in the demolitions?
That I wouldn't know because I'm not a member of Cabinet.
And yet you are saying that call by the Deputy President to engage citizens is part of the violation of the Cabinet resolution.
In context.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Mutuse, Honorable, I sought to know whether the people you respect, the people who elected you, do you suspect they will respect you with this behavior you are showing here?
Mr. Speaker, I will also request for you.
I didn't try to
Counsel for the Deputy President, just stick to the subject matter.
Mr. Speaker, we seek that our witness not be subjected to barbs or badgering. The question whether he respects or the people respect him and whatnot. The allegation is...
Already ruled on that.
I know, but my Lord, there's a question or issue
make
here.
Progress.
I'll make the progress, Mr. Speaker, as you direct. Let's look at paragraph 72.
Page?
Page 36, my apologies, 36. The original motion had 35, it's now 36 on the reproduced motion. Paragraph 72. You're saying and committed insubordination instead of assisting the President. Honorable Mutuse, has the President of the Republic of Kenya complained to you that is being undermined by his deputy?
No.
Does the Deputy President have another supervisor in the structure of government other than the President?
The people of Kenya and Parliament.
Have the people of Kenya complained to you that the Deputy President is undermining the President?
Many of them.
Have you presented before this court, this Senate, those complaints by the people of Kenya to you?
I am their representative.
Have you presented them, the complaints, the emails, the letters, the messages? You have given us screenshots here. Have you given them to this Senate that the DP is undermining the President?
That I don't have, but I have presented the motion.
Allow me to move to ground 4. Let me start by asking this question. It is your claim that the Deputy President has amassed a humongous property portfolio estimated at 5.2 billion shillings.
That's ground 4? It is not. So that...
My apologies, ground 7. My apologies for that. I'm sorry for that. Ground 7 at page 17. My apologies for that.
Yes, it is our allegation, and we have justified it in our evidence in chief.
Who gave you this value of 5.2 billion?
We said estimated at 5.2 billion, and we have...
Yes, who gave you that estimate value of 5.2 billion?
We have made the additions.
Sorry?
It's a matter of additions.
So you are saying that when we take you through these values, you'll get a property value of about 5.2 billion?
Approximately 5.2 billion, yes.
You said you made the additions. Additions result into a definite figure, Mr. Mutuse. Although you are a lawyer, mathematics are pre-qualification for studying law.
There are two things. One, there is the...
Are you saying that when we do those additions, we will get 5.2 billion?
There is the stated value in the sale agreements and in the acquisition documents.
That's what I'm saying. Are you saying when we add those values, we'll get 5.2 billion?
I will also be telling you what, in my view, are the values of some of the properties.
Oh, what, in your view, are the values of some of the properties?
Yes.
You have graduated from a lawyer to a valuer now, isn't it?
That's not exactly what you're saying.
Okay, thank you. Using what expertise did you attach that value in your view?
Well, market value. I'm sure you also know land in Kitale, an acre goes for 4 million, land in Kilifi, an acre goes for 2 million, and if it goes beyond that, it's a reasonable man's test.
And that is at paragraph 44, at page 18.
Yes.
You have listed a company called Spiritway Limited in your motion. Yes?
Number 18. Page 18. Spiritway Limited.
What wrong are you saying that company has done anywhere on earth? What wrong?
I did state, I listed these companies.
No, I'm asking Spiritway Limited. What wrong are you saying Spiritway has committed anywhere on earth? Gachagua committed through Spiritway Limited. I'm dealing with this one now. Spiritway Limited. What wrong has he done through this one?
It is one of the companies that we reasonably suspect are convicts, are used as special purpose vehicles for corruption.
So, what proceeds of corruption have passed through Spiritway Limited? How much?
We have demonstrated the specific...
No, I'm asking what proceeds of corruption have passed through Spiritway Limited as a particular company?
In our evidence, we have not presented evidence against Spiritway.
You have not?
Yes.
No, you know, in correct English, when I say you have not, you say no, we have not. You don't say yes.
Okay.
You have not presented evidence.
We have not presented evidence.
Thank you. Let's move to Fortis Vis Group Limited. What wrong has Fortis Vis Group Limited committed anywhere on earth?
Fortis.
Number 2 on page 18, company number 2. Sorry?
We have no quarrel.
Page 18 of 85 of volume 1.
We have no quarrel with Fortis.
Sorry?
We have no quarrel with Fortis.
I didn't get the answer.
We have no quarrel with Fortis.
You have no quarrel with Fortis Vis Group Limited?
We don't.
What is it doing in this motion, Mr. Mutuse? Decorative.
It is one of the companies associated with His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua.
What is wrong with Fortis Vis Limited being associated with Rigathi Gachagua? What is wrong with that?
At the time of submissions, we'll be stating why we think there is something wrong.
No, we want that question answered now so that we will submit on it. What wrong has Fortis Vis Group Limited committed anywhere on earth?
Why would one person own 25 companies doing the same things?
What law prohibits a person owning 25 companies? What law?
I think counsel for the Deputy President, the Honorable Mutuse has said he has no quarrel with that company.
Which is what?
Settle it.
You know, Mr. Speaker, I made an opening statement. In my opening statement, I said we have allegations that oscillate from the false to the ridiculous to the embarrassing. If he just answers and I keep quiet, I'll fail to demonstrate the oscillation. I want these distinguished senators, in their conscience, to know what exactly we are doing here. Because they were given an 85-page motion to deal with. This is part of the content of 85 pages. Surely, Mr. Speaker, for Mr. Mutuse to tell these senators that he brought them this company just as a name, I don't know how dignified this house would feel, but if I sat where this house sits, I would feel that's undignifying.
Proceed, counsel, with your cross-examination.
So,
I've said I do not have
No, you've said so. That's your answer a short while ago.
I don't have problems with Fortis.
That's correct. Who are the shareholders of Fortis?
Fortis is Kevin Rigathi and Keith Ikino Rigathi.
The only crime being they are children of Rigathi Gachagua.
Indeed, they are children of Rigathi.
Are they prohibited as children of Rigathi Gachagua from holding shares in a company?
As proxies?
Are they prohibited from holding shares in a company?
Not at all.
So what proxy business has Fortis Vis Limited done? Because you keep saying as proxies. What proxy business has Fortis Vis Group Limited done?
I have already stated that we do not have any problem with Fortis.
But you have put it in your impeachment motion to support one of your grounds.
It is there.
Without any problem with it. Grand Bypass Apartments Limited. What problem do you have with it?
We do not have a problem with it.
This company that you have listed, you have no problem with it?
We do not have a problem with it.
But you have put it as one of the grounds in your impeachment motion?
It is one of the companies associated with Rigathi Gachagua. And there is no problem with listing and saying, I am focusing on this one and I am not focusing on this one.
Page 19, company number 5.
You are skipping Vipingo and Kuroito?
You want to control my cross-examination?
No,
Honorable Mutuse, just respond to what counsel does.
Anansi Collective, we do not have problems with that one.
BioVet Kenya Limited, what problem do you have with it?
We do not have a problem with it.
Calvary Creed International Limited, what problem do you have with it?
We do not have a problem with it.
Cosmia Venture Limited, what problem do you have with it?
We do not have a problem with it. But we have a problem with number
Delta Delia Merchants Limited, what problem do you have with it?
Not at all. But we have a problem with Vipingo Beach.
Let me go to Vipingo Beach because you appear excited to go there. Who owns Vipingo Beach? Just answer my question. Who owns Vipingo Beach?
I need to check my CR12s.
Show us the volume that you're checking for us to look at together. Mr. Speaker, I wouldn't mind a time indication of how much time I've spent.
Vipingo Beach, on volume 2A, page 18.
You spent 40 minutes of the 2 hours, and
Thank you.
There's an additional 10 minutes for when we had a problem with the video.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Give us the page number kindly.
Page number 18 of 123, volume 2A.
Yes, proceed. Who owns Vipingo Beach?
Keith Ikino Rigathi, Kevin Gachagua Rigathi, and the estate of the deceased James Lerito Gachagua.
Let me go back to the beginning. You're a lawyer by profession.
Yes, I am.
You know the meaning of ownership of a company?
Yes, I do.
How is ownership of a company manifested?
In shareholding and...
Okay. How many shares does Keith Ikino Rigathi hold? According to your own exhibit. It may be getting hotter, but look at the document, compose yourself, and read. How many shares does Keith Ikino Rigathi hold according to your own document?
They are not indicated.
How many shares does Kevin Gachagua Rigathi hold according to your own exhibit?
They are not indicated.
What is the total number of shares in that company?
10,000.
Who is indicated as owning all those 10,000 shares?
There is a shareholding by the estate of the deceased James Lerito Gachagua.
It is the estate of the deceased James Lerito Gachagua. True or not true?
They own 10,000 shares.
What is the total number of shareholding?
10,000.
They own all the shares.
They own 10,000 shares.
What is the total number of shares in that company?
10,000.
So they own all the shares. The estate of the late James Lerito Gachagua owns all the shares according to your document.
It would appear so.
Is it so or is it not so? From your own document.
On the face of the document, it would appear so.
Do you doubt this document you have given us?
No, I don't doubt it.
Thank you. The deputy president then in defense says, this is a property owned by the estate of my late brother. Is he speaking the truth or not? From your own document.
The
deputy president says, this is a company owned by the estate of my late brother. Looking at your own document, is the deputy president saying the truth or is he not saying the truth? Remember, you are a lawyer all the time.
The estate of the deceased James Rigathi Gachagua owns 10,000 shares.
Out of how many shares?
I wouldn't vouch for the truthness of the deputy president's
I'm saying
testimony.
The estate of the late James Rigathi Gachagua owns 10,000 shares. Out of how many?
10,000.
Mr. Mutusa, you told me you are a lawyer.
Yes.
And let's be lawyers now.
Yes.
When the deputy president therefore says this company is wholly owned by the estate of my deceased brother, is he speaking the truth or not according to your document?
It's either yes or no. We make progress. We move, Honorable Mutusa.
Yes.
Thank you so much. You had begun by telling us you have a problem with this company. You have a problem with the estate of the deceased owner holding all the shares in the company.
No, we do not have a problem with that.
From your company law knowledge, do you know the role of directors in a company?
Yes, I do.
What directors play in a company?
They direct.
Directors are management. They manage.
They direct the management.
Correct.
The leadership.
What is wrong with these two boys managing this company on behalf of the shareholders who are disclosed? What is wrong against the law?
There is nothing wrong.
Okay. The value of this hotel is part of your 5.2 billion. True or not true?
It is.
Are you willing to deduct it now from that? Because you can now see who owns it.
At the appropriate time, we will show.
Are you willing to deduct it?
No.
Thank you. So I was proceeding for you stopped me to deal with Vipingo and I've dealt with it. I hope to your satisfaction. Are you satisfied?
We can proceed.
Heartland Supplies Limited, what problem do you have with it? Number 14.
Volume 1, eh?
Volume 1, yes.
Company number?
Number 14.
Company number 14. Just to confirm, we are on the same page. This is Heartland Supplies Limited.
Yes.
We have no quarrel with Heartland Supplies.
Page 21, paragraph 17, Mothers of the Land Limited. What problem do you have with it?
We have no quarrel with Mothers of the Land.
Number 18, Pioneer Medical Kenya Limited. What problem do you have with it?
We don't have a problem with it.
Overleaf, page 22, Reed of Furniture Mart Limited. What problem do you have with it?
We do not have a problem with it.
Royal Crimson Ventures Limited. What problem do you have with it?
No, not at all.
Technical Supplies and Services Limited. What problem do you have with it?
We do not have a problem with it.
You listed all these companies just to create a screaming headline for your motion with no problem with them.
We listed all these companies to show that they are associated with persons close to the Deputy President and that they are companies that are either used or can potentially be used.
They can potentially be used. The DP intends to use them in future, so this motion is preventive.
Indeed, we are addressing fears.
You have come here to address fears that the DP may use this company in the future to commit corruption.
Indeed, yes.
That's why you want this Senate to impeach the DP on this ground.
We have also shown...
No, that's why you want this Senate to impeach the DP on this ground.
There are some that we have shown have been
I've taken through a number of companies, Mr.
Mutuse.
I've taken a number of companies,
yes,
but one by one.
Yes.
You have said you have no problem with them.
We have no problem with the ones that we have said we have no problem with.
Let's go to paragraph 70. (8A).
78A.
His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua booked tender for the supply of mosquito nets to Crystal Kenya Limited. Was Crystal Kenya Limited a bidder for this tender?
Crystal Kenya Limited is a local...
I've asked, was it a bidder for this tender?
It is a local representative.
Is it a bidder for this tender? By the way, let me now ask you basic questions. Do you know the meaning of the word bidder?
Honorable Mutuse.
It is not a bidder.
Yeah, we make progress. You respond, we make progress.
So let's read the allegation, the particulars.
Yes.
It says, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua bullied Kenya Medical Supplies Agency officials into awarding a tender for the supply of mosquito nets to Crystal Kenya Limited. Was Crystal Kenya Limited, in fact, awarded that tender?
They were not a bidder.
Were they, in fact, awarded that tender as your ground alleges?
No, they were not. They are the local representatives.
I'm asking, why are you alleging that they were bullied into being awarded the tender?
Because they are the local representatives of Shobika, the company that is under investigation for this tender.
Your ground says His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua bullied KEMSA officials into awarding a tender for the supply of mosquito nets to Crystal Kenya Limited, his proxy company, full stop. Is that allegation correct? Is that allegation true?
There was no award to...
Is that allegation true?
It is true to the extent that they are the local representatives.
That His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua bullied KEMSA to award a tender to Crystal Kenya Limited, his proxy company.
To Shobika, represented by...
I'm asking you a different question. Your allegation is that KEMSA was bullied to award a tender to Crystal Kenya Limited, full stop. Am I reading it correctly, by the way?
You are reading it correctly.
Is that what I have read correctly itself true?
In the narrow sense, it is not true.
Thank you so much. You also say that Crystal Limited had submitted a fake bid bond with the sole intention of fraudulently acquiring public property. What do you mean by a fake bid bond?
An irregular bid bond.
What do you mean by an irregular bid bond?
A bid bond that was found not to meet the requirements.
What was the irregularity that was found in that bid?
I guess that is why ESCC...
No. What was the irregularity? You don't know about the allegation here. What was the irregularity that was found with that bid bond? There was a specific irregularity. What was it?
It was brought outside time.
You are sure of that fact?
It was brought outside time.
You are sure of that fact?
Insofar as I know.
I'm saying, are you sure of that fact? Because you're on oath.
Insofar as I know.
No, are you sure of the fact? It was brought out of time. I've asked you, are you sure of the fact that it was brought out of time?
Insofar as I know.
You referred us to the letter by KEMSA terminating that bid. Do you remember?
Yes.
Can you draw us to that letter, the volume number and the page where it is? And the counsel is talking to the witness, and you can see he's actually answering the question. He's a junior colleague. He's engaged in extremely unethical behavior that should not be done in a small claims court. Forget about a country's Senate. You've seen it with your own eyes.
Counsel for the Deputy President, I cannot hear exactly what was exchanged there. And therefore, I don't have the benefit of what was exchanged, and I'm not in a position to rule on it.
Okay.
Let's make progress.
Yes, I'm coming to you shortly.
We have the affidavit of Dr. Andrew Muller, who was the acting CEO of KEMSA at the time.
I've asked for the letter from KEMSA rejecting the bid, the letter, the three letter.
In our volume 1, from page 67, you asking for which letter?
As if you refer to the letter by KEMSA that rejected the bid in this mosquito net deal.
No, I referred us to the messages from Honorable Rigathi Gachagua's son to the children, to the CEO.
Let's go to that directly. Let's just go to that issue directly so that we finish with it now that you have raised it. Are you referring to the document at page 70 of volume 1?
Yes, indeed.
From which phone number is that message coming?
It's, it needs to be read
But from which phone number? You know a phone number?
With paragraph 4.
I've asked from which phone number? Just give me the phone number.
Plus.
It is sending the message.
Plus 254 717 871 036.
I'm asking at that page, we can see a screenshot of a message. Is that screenshot telling us the phone number it's coming from?
It is not.
It is not.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now want to deal with the document I had looked at earlier. Let's look at volume 3 of the governor's, sorry, the deputy president's documents. You have it. Look at volume 3 of the deputy president's documents at page 180.
Yes, there we are.
That is a letter from KEMSA.
Yes, on the face of it.
It is addressed to Shobika Impex Private Limited.
Yes.
It is setting out the reason why that bid was unsuccessful. Does it set out the reason? It says, reference is made to the above, sorry, my apologies. We are looking at page 180 of volume 3 of the deputy president's documents. And it's been projected on the screen. For those of us who can read the font on the screen, it's been projected on the screens. It is setting out the reason why that bid was rejected. It is because the tender security was not paginated.
Yes, from this document it says so.
That's what you are calling a fake bid document. That's what you are describing as a fake bid document.
The document you have shown.
I'm asking, this reason is what you are saying constitutes a fake bid document.
Of course, if the tender security was not paginated,
yes,
it is irregular.
Are you saying it is fake?
It is irregular.
Then I'm asking a different one. Are you saying you want this sentence to conclude that this attribute, failing to put a page number on a bid document, made it fake?
It made it irregular.
I'm asking a different, the word you have used in the motion is fake. We are trying the motion.
No, but irregular.
Thank you. Your statement in the motion, therefore, that was fake is not true. It's false. Your statement in the motion that was fake is false.
Strictly, yes.
Thank you. Let me move to a fairly different limb of argument. And this is now let's go to the question of Olive Gardens Hotel. Have it. The affidavit of Peterson Njomo Mushira.
Indeed.
According to Peterson Njomo Mushira, how did he acquire this property? Rather, how did his company, that's the correct way of putting it, isn't it? TM Engineering, yes? How did his company acquire this property? The process of acquisition.
He says he entered into a secret arrangement with the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua to purchase the property on their...
Who was purchasing the property?
On the understanding that...
No, I'm asking a different question. Who was purchasing the property?
That TM Engineering.
The purchaser of the property is TM Engineering?
Yes.
Who is the registered proprietor of the property?
Let me confirm. This is the Olive Gardens.
Who is the registered proprietor of the property, Olive Gardens Hotel?
I'm tracing the documents. Olive Gardens, the registered proprietor is Philip Wanjema Kago.
Sorry?
Philip Wanjema Kago. Is it?
Kindly reverse the page, the volume and the page you're looking at.
This is the volume 2A, page 10 of 123.
So who is that? Who is that?
Is Philip Wanjema Kago.
I'm asking, who is he? Do you know him?
I don't.
Let's look at your affidavit of Njomo. Yes. First, you concede, he says the deputy president requested him to buy the property. No, requested him to buy the property as a fact.
In the deputy response.
I'm talking about what Njomo is saying. Njomo is saying the deputy president requested him to buy the property.
He entered into a secret arrangement.
No, requested him to buy the property as a matter of fact. Yes?
Yes. On certain terms of a secret arrangement, according to him.
That the arrangement was that?
That the deputy president would buy the hotel.
Would buy the hotel from him.
By refunding the money.
No, would buy the hotel from him by refunding the money.
Yes.
Has he in fact bought it?
He would be the correct
As he, no, you are the motion mover. You are here with us. You'll not run away from anything, Mr. Mutuse. Has he in fact bought it?
I would imagine so.
Sorry?
I would imagine so.
When did he buy it?
I do not know.
Oh, you want these senators to impeach this deputy president on your imagination?
I have said, and there is nothing wrong with not knowing. I do not know.
Does Mr. Peterson Njomo Mushira say that, in fact, the DP has bought this hotel? Does he say so, that, in fact, the DP has bought this hotel? Yes or no?
He says...
Does he say that the DP has, in fact, bought this hotel? Yes or no?
He says that the deputy president would buy the hotel from me by refunding the purchase price of 412 million set out in the agreement. And
if we believe Mr. Njomo, this is a promise for a future transaction, if we believe him. Yes?
He also goes
if we believe Jomo,
yes,
what he's saying there, this is a promise for a future transaction.
It would appear so.
No. On the face of it, it is a promise for a future transaction, not so?
It would appear so. But
has that future come? Has that transaction happened, to your knowledge?
I believe so.
What's the basis of your belief? Has the DP said he has bought that property?
It was bought by TM Engineering.
Is that not a fact? Is that what Njomo is telling us?
Yes.
So what the DP is telling us, it was bought by TM Engineering, and what Njomo is telling us, it was bought by TM Engineering, factually are the same.
Factually are the same.
Then Njomo is bringing a new perspective to it, that the DP promised him, in future, I will buy back this hotel. Yes?
And that's why he's saying...
Jeme is saying, yes. The DP then, when I bought this hotel,
yes,
the DP then told me I intend to buy it back in future.
Yes.
By the way, is there any unlawfulness in a future intent to acquire property?
It points to a scheme.
A scheme to? A scheme to do what?
It points to a scheme.
To do what?
To launder.
Sorry?
To a scheme to hide the transaction, because...
Mr. Mutusi, let's also just be basic, sensible people. If we wanted to, you just have bought it immediately. Yes. Isn't a promise to buy in the future itself, on the face of it, evidence of lack of immediate money? On the face of it.
Well, that's a matter of interpretation.
That's what I'm telling you now, Anders. You know you're a lawyer like me, and we are good at interpretation. In fact, we are trained in interpretation. So I'm asking you the question. Is the promise to buy in the future, on the face of it?
Jomo says they have a secret, because we do not want to assume what Jomo is saying. Jomo is saying in his affidavit, there was a secret arrangement that I cover for the deputy president. I buy it to be registered in my company, and then he refunds me my money.
Has that refund been done?
He would be the best place to tell us.
When did Jomo buy this hotel? It's around March 2023 from the affidavit. Not true?
On around 31st March.
More than 1.5 years ago.
Yes.
To date, your thorough investigation to support a motion to remove the DP from office has not revealed evidence that the DP has in fact bought the hotel. You want us to imagine he has bought it, yes?
My allegation is that he bought through proxy, and the proxy says, indeed, I have a secret arrangement with the deputy president to buy the hotel on his behalf as a proxy. And I did not allege that it has been transferred to the deputy president. I said it's an intricate web of economic crimes, white-collar crimes, that are secret.
This promise to buy a hotel in future is white-collar crime?
Indeed, economic crimes are white-collar crimes.
I'm asking, this promise to buy a hotel in future is a white-collar crime?
It is part of the scheme to hide the real owners of the property.
So let me wind up this argument because my time is running out. You have made hue and cry of the DP's wealth portfolio. At least you know that, isn't it?
Indeed.
You have also told us that even if we gave him the best possible assumption, he would be having 24 million shillings in his account because that's his salary, yes?
The known sources of income.
Are you suggesting that the DP became DP impecunious as a pauper?
Not at all.
Do you know his wealth portfolio by the time he became DP?
During the presidential debate,
yes,
he did say that he was worth 800 million shillings.
He said he was worth 800 million shillings?
Yes.
And you would question why he would promise in future to buy a property worth 400 million?
And I question why...
Do you know the formula he wanted to use to buy the property, wanted to liquidate his wealth to acquire it? Do you know the formula he wanted to use in future to buy the property?
That would be for him to say, not me.
I'm asking whether you know. You are the one to establish this charge. Do you know the formula?
I have demonstrated that the formula is corrupt and the sources of the wealth are unexplained.
Which wealth has unexplained sources that you explained?
I have shown...
I thought you began by Vipingo, which we have dealt with you.
All the way from Nyeri, Treetops, all the way to Vipingo. We'll have our time, our day.
Sorry?
In terms of Vipingo, we will also be able to show.
When?
We still have time for submissions.
Or you're going to call more evidence?
No, we are not calling evidence. We'll just point out to the other documents because we were reading documents in isolation. We'll also show other documents that point out to his ownership of the Vipingo Hotel.
Mr. Speaker, may I invite my colleague, Mr. Masharia, to pick up from there?
And thank you very much.
Thank you, too.
Would you wish to know how much time is remaining for you?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, so far you've done 1 hour, 2 minutes.
Okay.
You have 58 minutes.
58 minutes. We are
For
most
the
grateful.
entire cross-examination of this witness and those to come.
Most obliged, Honorable Senator. Chairman, Speaker. Honorable Mutuse, Honorable Speaker of the Senate. Honorable Mutuse. Yes, you say you're an advocate of the High Court of Kenya.
Yes.
When were you admitted?
In the year 2018.
2018.
Yes.
So you've been practicing for 6 years.
Indeed.
According to the Senate website I'm reading here, between 2013 and 2022, you are the Chief of Staff at the County Government of Machakos. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So from 2018 to 2022, you could not practice law as a public officer. Is that correct?
That is true.
So you have not done any conveyancing transactions. Is that correct?
That is not correct.
How have you done conveyancing transactions as a public officer?
I have academic, professional, and experience in conveyancing.
Academic, not practical.
Professional and practical experience in conveyancing.
How did you do conveyancing while working for Machakos County Government?
I was not in private practice, but I am involved in many.
Yeah, name one transaction, for example.
Well, maybe I can't remember now.
Maybe what?
I cannot remember at the moment.
You can't remember a single transaction in your illustrious law career you've done. Let's move on. Honorable Mutuse.
Yes.
On what party were you elected when you came to Parliament?
Maendeleo Chapter Party.
Maendeleo Chapter Party.
Yes.
And you were elected in the year 2022.
Indeed.
Is it correct to state that Maendeleo Chapter Party is a member of the Kenya Kwanza Coalition?
Yes, it is correct.
Did you sign a coalition agreement to form part of that Kenya Kwanza Coalition?
Yes, we did.
You did. Chapter Party.
No, I don't have.
You don't have any role.
Yes.
I want us to deal with grounds. I believe your counsel led you on what he said jointly were grounds 1, 5, and 6. Ground 1 and 5 and 6 deal with the utterances you stated. And let me get some facts straight from you. You said one of the things that vexes you the most about these utterances, you mentioned sensationally Rwanda, you mentioned Sudan, you mentioned various countries having problems. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed.
And you said that my client, the deputy president, was a DO in Molo during the clashes.
I said, it is said that he was a DO in Molo during the
It is said.
Yes.
So this is not a fact. Yes or no? It is not correct that he was not a DO in Molo.
I do not know it out of my own information, but it is public information.
What do you mean by public information? Either he was a DO or he was not. Can you confirm yes or no? Was he or wasn't he? Or don't you know?
He was a DO?
He was, no, Molo, please. Let's
said that he was a DO in
to your knowledge, not to the public, to you, Mutuse MP Kibwezi, was he a DO in Molo or not, to your knowledge?
I believe so.
I'm not asking for your belief or imagination. Do you know or do you not know?
Well, I do not have it as a matter of fact.
Okay, let's move. Now, you confirm that you are a member of the Kenya Kwanza Coalition.
Yes, indeed.
Please go with me, if you will.
Yes.
To page 417, honorable members, 417 of volume 3 of the Deputy President's documents. That one. And as you put a finger there, Honorable Mutuse, honorable members of the Senate, Mr. Mutuse, if you'd go with me to page 6 of volume 1, this is the special motion.
Volume 6.
I said page 417, keep a finger there, page 417 of volume 3. These are annexures in support of His Excellency the Deputy President.
Yes.
And then volume 1, which is your motion, at page 6 of 85. But let's begin with page 6 of 85. You're there, page 6?
Yes, I'm there.
You're there. This is the allegation you see in the middle there, and I'll read for you quickly so that we don't get stuck, which begins with the words, a government is like a company. Can you see that?
A government is like a company.
You can see that?
Yes.
I want you to show me where in that paragraph the word tribe, ethnic, kabila appears, even once.
It is not there.
Go to page 7, overleaf. Can you see the sentence beginning, haiwezekani mtu ambaye alikuwa akikupiga kelele akichunga? Can you see that?
Yes.
Show me where the word kabila, tribe, or ethnicity appears.
It is not there.
Paragraph 13. A government is like a company. Can you see that at page 7?
Yes.
Show me where the word tribe, ethnic, or kabila appears.
It is not there.
Let's go to page 8. Sisi lazima tungeangalia nyinyi. Hii serikali ni kampuni na hii ni shares. Si ndio? Can you see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Show me where the word tribe, kabila, ethnic appears.
It doesn't appear.
Paragraph 15, does it appear?
What?
At paragraph 15, at page 8 of 85.
What does not appear?
The same words, kabila, ethnic, tribe.
No, they don't appear.
They do not appear. And finally, at paragraph 16, at page 9 of 85. You can see that?
Let me read through. I can see nikuwe nikichunga mambo ya watu wa mlima.
Very good. So Mlima is a tribe.
Is a region.
Is a region. Can you please name for me the counties in that region?
Several.
Central is not a county.
I've said several.
Several, there are 10 actually. Read them out.
Kiambu, Murang'a, Nyeri, Embu, Rakanithi, Meru, Nyandarua, Nakuru,
Laikipia.
Which are them?
The 10, all of them.
Okay.
Now, do all those 10 counties have one tribe? To your knowledge?
They do not have one tribe.
Thank you. Now, would you agree with me that the government or the party or the coalition, Kenya Kwanza coalition?
Yes.
So the ruling party is Kenya Kwanza?
The ruling coalition.
Is a ruling coalition?
Yes.
And they rule because they are a majority?
Yes.
You agree with that?
Indeed.
Very good. Now, to your knowledge, if you now go with me to page 417, is a letter, can you see that? Page 417 of volume 3 of the Deputy President's documents. Can you see that?
Yes.
It is addressed to the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties.
Yes.
And it is signed by our professional colleague, Professor Kithure Kindike. Can you see that? Council for Kenya Kwanza Alliance Coalition.
Yes.
You can see that?
Yes.
In the middle is a paragraph beginning with subsequently. Can you please read out for me the parties that were constituent parties of Kenya Kwanza?
Subsequently, on 12th April 2022, the following political parties were admitted and signed to join the coalition pursuant to Article 24 of the coalition agreement. Chama cha Kazi, Communist Party, Devolution Party of Kenya, Economic Freedom Party, Farmers Party, the Service Party, Tujibebe wa Kenya Party, Umoja na Maendeleo Party of Kenya, Democratic Party of Kenya.
Thank you. If you go with me to the first of those coalition agreements, it is to be found at page 418. Can you see that?
Yes, I am there.
At the very top there, under the date, who are the constituent, who are the parties that have signed this agreement?
United Democratic Alliance Party and Amani National Congress Party and Ford Kenya Party.
Thank you. If you'd go with me to page 420, a few pages from there.
Page 420, I'm there.
Paragraph C, Article 5, Paragraph C. Please read that out fairly quickly.
The validity or legality of this agreement may not be subject to challenge by any founding or future coalition member party or their respective individual party members before any organ of the coalition.
And Paragraph D?
Any constitution, rules, regulations, or guidelines, whatever the nomenclature of founding or future member parties, which is not inconsistent with this agreement, is null and void to the extent of the inconsistency.
So this is the master agreement of the Kenya Kwanza coalition. Is that correct, yes or no?
It is correct.
Thank you. Do you know why these agreements are signed and under what law they are signed?
Yes, I know.
Please tell us.
They are signed under the Political Parties Act for various reasons. Number one is...
No, I asked you the law. Now, do you know what specific section requires a coalition agreement and what is to enter into a coalition agreement?
Well, not offered, but I know.
Schedule 3. Does that ring a bell for you?
The Schedule 3 is what states what the elements of a coalition agreement.
As a member of the Kenya Kwanza coalition, according to you,
yes,
are these agreements of your coalition drawn in accordance with the law?
Yes, they are.
So they are lawful. Kenya is governed.
Basis upon which Kenya Kwanza coalition is run.
Is governing the country.
The country is governed by the Constitution of Kenya.
Correct. But the Kenya Kwanza government that is governing, these are its constituent documents. This is the foundation of Kenya Kwanza.
But they are not superior to the Constitution.
I did not ask for an argument. I asked, is this the foundational constitution? You've just read about it saying that it is...
It is the coalition agreement for Kenya Kwanza, yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Would you know whether Maendeleo Chap signed any agreement to enter the Kenya Kwanza coalition?
Yes.
You did?
They did sign.
Are you familiar with the contents of that agreement?
Yes, I am.
You are?
Yes.
Are you certain about that?
Yes, I know.
Very good. Then let's first go to the documents we're reading here. Let's begin at page 426.
Page 426?
Yes.
I am here.
Article 19, can you please read the heading?
Article 19, sharing of county assembly responsibilities, leadership.
Sharing.
Sharing.
Very good. Article 20, please read the heading again.
Sharing of leadership of parliamentary committees.
Sharing.
Yes.
Let's go to Article 21.
Sharing of national government responsibilities.
Let us start with A. UDA shall nominate the coalition's presidential and deputy presidential candidates in the general elections of 9th August 2022. Did UDA provide the president and deputy president for Kenya Kwanza coalition?
Yes.
They did?
Yes.
So that part of the agreement was implemented?
Yes.
Very good. And then you can see at Article 21E, the functions of the deputy president is to chair committees, oversee implementation of cabinet decisions, and so on. Would you know whether this particular section was implemented or not?
In terms of the functions of the deputy president?
Yes. Would you know?
Yes. To the best of my recollection, it was put into effect through an executive order.
So that was also implemented?
Yes.
Go with me to page 428.
Page 428?
Yes.
We are here.
F. Can you see F at the top there?
Yes, I can see F.
A and C shall nominate the prime cabinet secretary for appointment by the President of the Republic. Did the leader of ANC, was the leader of ANC nominated and appointed as the Prime Cabinet Secretary?
Indeed.
That is correct.
Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs.
You can confirm the name. What's the name?
His name is Musalia Mudavadi.
Mudavadi.
Yes.
Very good. And the functions you see at J and I, was that also implemented?
Yes, they were implemented.
Very good. Let's go to page 429.
Page 429, yes.
Paragraph L at the top.
Paragraph L at the top.
Ford Kenya shall nominate the Speaker of the National Assembly for election in accordance with the Constitution. Did Ford Kenya nominate, and was the nominee in fact elected as the Speaker of the National Assembly?
Indeed.
Indeed. That was also implemented?
Yes.
Very good. Now, let us go to N. Please read out for us N.
ANC and Ford Kenya shall have 30% share of the positions in the national government, including cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, ambassadors, high commissioners, heads of diplomatic missions, chairpersons of state corporations, directors of state corporations, and chairpersons and commissioners of no government shall be shared equally between ANC and Ford Kenya.
Who would be the appointing authority for those positions?
Well, different office orders.
Remember, you're a lawyer.
Some by the president.
Yes.
Others by cabinet secretaries appointed by the president. And others through Public Service Commission by way of competitive.
Now, but ANC and Ford Kenya were promised 30% share positions in all these positions.
Indeed.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, they have a 30% share.
Yes.
So when you hold shares, what are you called?
Okay. In a company, they are called shareholders. I do not know what they are called in a political party.
I'm talking about English. When you hold shares, what are you called?
Shareholder.
Thank you very much. So ANC and Ford,
they are 30%.
You have just told us when you hold shares, you're a shareholder. Please, Mr. Mutuse, do not fear. Speak the English.
Okay, they are 30% shareholders.
They are 30% shareholders?
Yes.
Thank you. Let's go to Article 22.
But not in a company.
Mr. Mutuse, please answer the questions when you asked. Let's go to Article 22.
My apologies.
Let's go to the one that begins with pursuant.
Pursuant to the principles of equity, national development, and fair allocation of national resources, the Kenya Kwanza Alliance administration shall endeavor to fulfill the following developmental obligations in the ANC and Ford Kenya strongholds of Western Kenya within the electoral period starting 2022 and ending in 2077 on a priority basis.
Stop there. Please tell me, what are the ANC and Ford Kenya strongholds in Western Kenya? As a member of the coalition, please tell us.
Come again.
What are the Ford Kenya and ANC strongholds in Western Kenya?
Western Kenya?
Yeah. Read for us the counties.
Oh, you want counties?
Of course.
That would be the county of Bungoma, the county of Kakamega, the county of Vihiga, the county of... which other one?
I am the questioner, you're the motion mover. Please answer. Now,
primarily those ones.
These are priority projects for one region, correct?
Yes.
And this is a shareholders agreement, correct?
This is a coalition agreement.
Coalition agreement. It says shares. You just told us that yourself.
Because it has a heading.
Now, let's read the projects. Go to A.
Completion of all existing incomplete or stored bitumen road projects within the aforesaid counties is at 9th August 2020.
Let's stop. These are projects for one region, correct or not?
Yes.
Would you say, as you have alleged here, that by Kenya Kwanza focusing on one region, certain projects, what you're accusing the Deputy President of saying must be implemented, how does that cause disunity or ethnic strife? As a member of Kenya Kwanza, you're a member, you're the ones who say this. Tell us what you had in mind.
This is in promotion of regional inclusivity of all regions in the national development.
But we are talking about Western here. Can you please show me in this document where other regions are mentioned? Please go through it quietly. Take a minute. It ends at page 433. It starts at page 418. Show me one other region mentioned there by name in the whole document.
This is a coalition agreement specific.
Please, Mr. Mutuse, answer my question. Is there any other region mentioned by name in this document?
There is no other region.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Mutuse. Mr. Mutuse, please. Mr. Mutuse, please answer.
Region.
Focus to my question. Is there any other region?
Not in this document.
Thank you very much. That was my simple question. Let's go to page 434. Who are the signatories to this agreement?
Several. Wetangula, Veronica Maina, Simon Gikuru, and Chrysanthus Wamalwa.
And it is witnessed by who?
Professor Kindiki.
Do any of these persons bear the blame as you pile on the Deputy President for causing ethnic strife by focusing on one region in a document?
None of them has made pronouncements to similar to.
They're in the document. This is an agreement, and it has been implemented.
And none of them has a motion on the impeachment.
So let me understand this, and be careful with the answer here.
Yes.
Your problem with the Deputy President is that he spoke out aloud what was written in the agreement that formed the government. Yes or no?
There is no way I've...
No, yes or no, Mr. Mutuse?
The Deputy President has not said the people of Western have not been given what...
No. He spoke about shares. We've read. He said everybody deserves their share. So it is in the agreement you've confirmed.
But we have also to be faithful to the agreement.
We have to be faithful to an agreement that gives shares.
A coalition agreement.
But we mustn't talk about it.
The Deputy President is not accused of saying the people of Western Kenya have not gotten their share.
Let us go back to your document, Mr. Mutuse.
Please.
Go back to page 7.
Page 7 of volume?
Page 7 of volume 1.
Yes, there we are.
A government is like a company. I did not say it is a company. I said it is like a company. In every company, there are shares, preferential shares and ordinary shares. When there's an AGM, non-shareholders do not vote or attend. When there are dividends to be divided, they're divided according to the number of shares. This is the truth. A government. And this is the government being formed here. So, Mr. Mutuse, are you saying that the problem is that the Deputy President spoke out aloud what was written in an agreement deposited with the Registrar of Political Parties and which formed the government?
I am not saying that because there is nowhere in the coalition agreement we spoke about a company.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to the agreement at page 435.
Yes.
Can you see that?
Yes, I can see it.
What is this agreement? Who are the parties to this agreement?
Kenya Kwanza Coalition and Pamoja African Alliance Party, otherwise abbreviated as PA.
PA. Let's go, if you don't mind, to page 438.
Page 438.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you see Article 7?
Yes, I can see Article 7.
Please read what it says.
Priority projects and programs. Upon winning the presidential election scheduled for 9th August 2022, the coalition administration shall ensure the following within the 2022-2027 development cycle. You want me to read all?
Or let me make it short for you. Between Article 7A
yes.
and 7I,
yes.
I want you to tell me whether any other region other than coast is mentioned in those priority projects. This is page 438 of volume.
Want me to take
volume 3.
Want me to take a minute to read?
No, just please flip through in a second. It shouldn't be long. Let me help you. There's none. All of them deal with cost. Can you see that?
D is broad. It says involve local communities in the management, benefit sharing of the resources associated with the blue economy.
Do you know what blue economy refers to?
Yes, I do.
Is there a blue economy in Makueni?
There is a blue economy in Kisumu.
Very good. So this deals, other than the D, the rest of it is all cost.
Well, reverse operational changes that have been carried out in the recent past, whose effect has been to relocate some of the core activities, well, basically cost, but also with a national, with a national nature.
You can read them for yourself, their cost. Now let's go with me to Article 8 at page 439.
Page 439, Article 8.
8A. It says that PAR shall nominate a candidate for the Speaker of the Senate. Can you see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Page 439, paragraph 8A. You can see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Did the candidate nominated by PAR in fact become the Honorable Speaker of the Senate?
Indeed.
He did. Let's go to Article 9. Please read Article 9A.
Sharing of responsibilities in the national government. Upon the coalition winning the presidency of the Republic of Kenya in the general election scheduled for 9th, PAR shall submit one qualified nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary in accordance with the applicable law and procedure for appointment.
So PAR was allocated one Principal Secretary position as its share of national government. Is that correct?
According to this agreement, yes.
Thank you. Let's go to a very interesting one. Go to paragraph 9C.
Yes.
Please read 9C.
PAR shall be entitled to nominate other qualified persons for appointment for positions in the national government, including principal secretaries, ambassadors to high commissioners, chairpersons of state corporations, chairpersons of constitutional commissions, and other appointive officers commensurate with the number of members of National Assembly and senators that will be elected on PAR ticket vis-a-vis the total number of elected under the ticket of other coalition constituent parties.
In simple English, when the number of the national government positions for PSs, ambassadors, state corporations, and etc., including constitutional commissions and other appointing offices, will be allocated to PAR commensurate with the number of members of National Assembly and senators, doesn't that mean that PAR will be allocated positions based on how well it does in the election? Yes or no?
Yes.
Let us go to page 440 again and 441.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that?
Yes, I can.
Again, you can see it signed by the party officials. Can you see that?
Yes, I can see.
His Excellency the President, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Senator of the National Assembly, my village mates and Senator Veronica Maina, Simon Gekuru, Chrysanthus Wamalwa, Ibrahim Mutwafi, and Benedict Furaha. You can see that?
Yes, I can.
And you confirm this is an agreement of the Kenya Kwanza coalition?
Yes, between Kenya Kwanza and PAR.
Very good. Honorable Speaker, I would now like to play a video. This is video number 7 in the Deputy President's documents.
Hapa Murang'a mumenipatia waziri ambaye anasimamia fedha yote ya Kenya. Anaitwa Profesa Njuguna Ndung'u. Hapa Murang'a mumenipatia chairman ambaye anakusanya ushuru yote Kenya. Anaitwa Bwana Maura, anatoka hapa Kandara. Na nyinyi watu wa Murang'a, waziri wa maji ndio huyu yuko hapa. Kwa hivyo kama kuna watu shareholders wakubwa wa hii serikali ni watu wa Murang'a. Na hiyo kazi nyingine yote tutahakikisha kwamba inatimia.
Stop there.
Watu wa Murang'a tumekubaliana.
Honorable Mutuse.
Counsel.
Who was speaking in that video?
The President of the Republic of Kenya, William Ruto.
What words did he use? What did he say to the people of Murang'a?
That he has appointed many of their locals into his government.
Did he say, nyinyi watu wa Murang'a ni shareholders wakubwa wa hii serikali?
Yes, he did.
He did?
Yes.
And what, among other things, is one of the primary duties of the Deputy President?
To deputize for the President.
To assist the President?
Yes.
When the Deputy President assists the President in talking about shareholders, how does that become an impeachable offense that does not attach to his principal, the President?
That is not one of the functions assigned to the President by the Constitution.
It is one of the functions in your founding documents. So he's assisting him in that function. It's politics. What is the problem with that? He's the deputy party leader for UDA.
Well, I wouldn't know that.
You wouldn't know?
Yes.
Let me ask you, before you filed this motion of yours, which my colleague Elisha Ongoya calls false, he used some other words.
I can remember them.
You can remember them?
Yes.
You want to, now that you know what you have done, what are they?
No, I can remember Ongoya's words.
What are they? Now that, describe yourself. What was it used?
Go ahead. You can ask him for assistance.
Now, when you say that the Deputy President used words in support of something the President himself said, how does that become insubordination?
I have not said that the Deputy President used words in support of what the President said.
So when the President says to the people of Murang'a and not to the people of, say, Makueni, that nyinyi ni shareholders wakubwa wa serikali, is the President's words likely to incite ethnic hatred, violence? Rwanda, are the President's words likely to turn us to Rwanda, as you suggested?
The President is not on trial.
Sorry?
The President is not on trial.
Oh, I see. So his assistant, who assisted him do the thing.
Counsel for the Deputy President, you have 30 minutes.
I'm most obliged, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Mutuse,
yes.
By assisted, most of these appointments, would you confirm with me that most of these appointments, for example, Principal Secretary, were made by the President?
Yes, indeed.
Cabinet secretaries were appointed by the President?
Yes, indeed.
In fact, under the Constitution, does the Deputy President have any power to appoint anybody? Sorry?
Not expressly.
No. If it's by insinuation, tell me where, which law? What law are you talking about?
The President can sign an instrument for him to deputize by way of signing an instrument of appointment.
Sorry?
Maybe the President can delegate some power of appointment.
Are you aware of any power delegated in this government?
I am not.
Is there any you know of?
I am not.
You're not aware of any?
Yes.
Okay. Now, one of the other allegations is that the Deputy President, in these utterances, thereby ensured that other regions did not have adequate development. Is that correct?
That they have the potential to discriminate.
Potential?
To discriminate.
Let me ask you something, and this is a question not just about this allegation, about the companies you said, about all the things you've said here.
Yes.
Before you filed your motion,
yes,
did you write to the Deputy President to ask him to explain himself?
I was not under obligation to do so.
You are not?
So I did not.
I want you to go with me to page 431.
Page 431 of volume?
Volume 1, the same volume we're reading here.
Volume?
Volume 3.
Page 431.
Yes, page 431.
I'm on
You're there, page 431.
Page 431, yes.
Can you see Article 26?
Article 26, yes.
Yes. It deals with dispute resolution.
Yes,
Does Kenya Kwanza have a dispute resolution mechanism?
I believe so.
Did you attempt to invoke that mechanism?
This is not a dispute. This is not a coalition dispute.
Okay.
It's not a coalition dispute.
I asked this question because I asked you, did you ask the Deputy President why he said any of these things? Whether he was acting on presidential instructions or why was he doing it? Did you ask?
I did not.
You did not ask him?
I did not.
Did you ask him about these companies you are saying, what he does with them?
I did not.
You did not. Did you ask him about these companies, these parcels of land? Did you invoke your Article 35 rights to find out the truth?
I did not.
So you just jumped straight into these allegations with a motion that has animated the whole country.
To ask for any clarifications.
Let me get this right. You're saying there was no obligation on you to verify the facts before filing the motion?
I verify them with the necessary organs of the state.
What are the necessary organs of the state you verify them with?
Registration of companies.
Yes.
They are able to verify ownership with the business registration.
To another area. Now, I want you to go with me to page 497.
Page 497.
Of volume 3. Please go with me to page 497. Go to page 497.
Yes.
You're with me there?
Yes, I am.
Page 497, can you read at the top there what it's called?
Kenya
Yes.
North and Northeastern Development Initiative.
Yes.
NEDI.
NEDI.
Mission Aid Memoir.
Yes.
March 27th.
Yes.
To April 6, 2023.
As far as you're aware, does the Deputy President come from Northeastern Kenya?
No, he doesn't.
He does not. If you go with me, you can see this is about frameworks for how that area will be developed. But I want you to go with me first and foremost to page 500 and page 501.
500 and 501.
Yes.
Yes.
You can see that?
Yes.
Now, you can see there are 28 programs that were being undertaken under that program. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
You can see that?
Yes.
Now, go with me then to page 502 and 503.
502 and 503.
Yes.
A list of participants.
A list of participants. You can see that?
Yes.
The top 10 participants are from which office?
Office of the Deputy President.
And there are many other leaders of Kenya there. Can you see that? Page 502 and 503.
And people from different communities, I can see.
You can see that?
Yes.
I want you now to go with me to page 505.
Yes.
Can you see Annex 2 at the top there?
Active NEDI projects data.
You can see that?
Yes.
It lists a name and then it has World Bank funding financing US $1 million. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Can you see NEDI share in US dollars?
Yes.
If you could get your assistant as I lead you in another area to do the totals and confirm that the total for the World Bank funding is $3.8 billion, the total World Bank funding for the country, okay? Your assistant there can help you with a computer, which is 514 billion Kenya shillings, okay? The NEDI share being supervised by the Deputy President in that column, he can confirm as we go on over something else, is $1.99 billion. The percentage of dollars allocated to the NEDI area is 52% of the national figure, okay? Would you say that is marginalization by the Deputy President's office?
This is not a program by the Deputy President. It is a program by the government of Kenya.
Fantastic. You raise a very important point. You know, government has no money. Government has taxpayers' money.
Indeed.
The question is how it uses it.
Yes.
It borrows money and taxes.
Yes.
This program is run by the Deputy President's office.
Yes.
So all I am asking, not go to the region he comes from. Is that likely to cause ethnic hatred? Is that discrimination? That's my question to you.
No, it is not.
Thank you very much. Go with me now to another area. Go with me to page 410.
Page 410?
Yes, 410. Honorable Mutuse.
Yes, Council.
You have said that the Deputy President acted beneath his office and violated his oath of office by criticizing the Director General of the National Intelligence Service.
Yes.
In public.
Yes.
And you say that is a terrible thing.
Yes.
It's the worst thing a Deputy President can do.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you go with me to the constitutional provisions that deal with security, I believe that's Article 2. The National Security Agencies.
National Security Council.
Not the National Security Council.
Or National Security.
Article 238. Please read, if you will, Article 239. Do you have the Constitution there with you?
I do not have at the moment.
I will lend you mine. Please read Article 239, Sub-Article 3.
239, Sub-Article 3, National Security Organs. In performing their functions and exercising their powers, national security organs and every member of the national security organs shall not act in a partisan manner, further any interest of a political party or cause, or prejudice a political interest or political cause that is legitimate under this Constitution.
Thank you. And so if a senior member of any security agency were to, if I could have back my Constitution, if a senior member or any member really of any security agency were to engage in that activity, that would be unconstitutional.
Indeed.
It would be worthy of criticism.
Indeed.
Now, in this country, are you familiar with Kenya's first Director of Intelligence? Mr. James Kanyotu.
Mr. James Kanyotu, I have heard much about him.
Are you familiar with a saga in Kenya called the Goldenberg Commission?
Yes, I am familiar with the Goldenberg Commission.
Was Mr. Kanyotu brought before the commission to explain his role in that commission and his role in that saga?
But not when he was in office.
I'm asking, was he brought there?
Yes, indeed.
Thank you very much. You're familiar with the former Director of Intelligence called Brigadier Gachagua?
Yes, indeed.
During the Waki Commission, was Brigadier Gachagua called to give evidence before the Waki Commission to explain the role of the security agencies in post-election violence?
Yes, in a commission. In a commission.
In a commission. He was summoned.
In a commission, summoned by a commission.
A public commission.
Public commission.
Yes.
That was formed pursuant to the laws of Kenya.
Okay. Number 6. Now, you're with me at page 410.
410, yes.
You can see that is a newspaper article.
Yes.
What is the headline?
This is on the face of it.
It can only be on the face of it, Mr. Mutuse. We don't need to use extra adjectives to explain obvious things. What does it say?
I was locked out of Security Council meeting 3 years ago.
Thank you. What is the date of that article at page 410? It's on the extreme right.
This is on 7th of July.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go to page 411.
Page 411?
Yes. Please read that article in full.
UDA presidential candidate William Ruto on Thursday said he was excluded from attending the National Security Council meeting 3 years ago. The National Security Council brings together the President, Deputy President, Defense, Foreign Affairs, and Internal Security Cabinet Secretaries, the Attorney General, Chief of Defense Forces, the Director of National Intelligence Service. Ruto made the revelations while explaining his take on the ongoing extrajudicial killings in the country.
Stop right there. When you played your video, you said that the problem was that the Deputy President had discussed issues of security at a time when we were having what were called the Gen Z protests. Is that correct or not?
That is one of the problems.
That's one of the issues.
Yes.
Now, the Minister for Interior was before the National Assembly, last week I believe it was, or the other week,
Yes.
and said that 42 people died during those protests. You recall?
I do not have that, but we take it as you put it.
He said 132 people are missing.
Okay.
Are you aware that cases have been filed in court, including one where the Inspector General of Police was cited for contempt over allegations that the security agencies were abducting Kenyans?
I am aware of the matters in court.
Are you aware that during these protests, property of immense value was lost?
Yes, I am aware.
Did the President of the Republic of Kenya dismiss his entire cabinet as a consequence of those protests?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Are you aware, as a member of parliament, that the World Bank and the IMF, as early as January 2024, sent a document to the government, a public document available on the website, indicating that the introduction of the reforms in the Finance Bill 2024 would lead to protests? Are you aware of that?
I am not aware.
Now, if the World Bank and the IMF had warned the government in January 2024 that there would be protests, what should a responsible government have done in the intervening period?
The government is not on trial. Rigathi Gachagua is.
That is not my question. My question was, what should a responsible government and security agencies have done?
I can't tell because I am not part of them. I'm not in the executive.
I see. Let's go back to my article at page 411. There is a sentence beginning, at the same time. Start there.
At page 411, at the same time, the DP also revealed that Director of the National Intelligence Service no longer picks up his course.
Mm-hmm.
This, he said, has made him unable to play a key role in ensuring an end to the judicial killings in the country, as well as the runaway insecurity in some parts of the country.
Stop right there. Go to page 412.
Page 412.
In the middle, there is a sentence beginning with the words, he reiterated.
He reiterated that the remarks he made in a campaign rally in Moyale, that he will ensure.
Read, finish.
That will ensure end to extrajudicial killings.
So the Deputy President at the time is criticizing the entire National Security Council and even disclosing, and Kenyans didn't know this, that the Director of National Intelligence no longer picked up his calls, and this is being made at a rally in Moyale. Between that and the Deputy President addressing a national crisis that was foreseen, please explain to me what the difference between those two situations is.
There is a huge difference. Number one, he begins by saying he has been locked out of National Security Council meetings. Honorable Rigathi Gachagua has not said that he has been locked from National Security Council meetings. Number two, he goes ahead and says the Director General of the National Intelligence Service no longer picks his calls. Mr. Rigathi Gachagua does not say the Director General of the National Intelligence Service no longer picks his calls.
I see, but they're talking about the Director of National Intelligence.
And our case is that...
And they're discussing things the public don't know yet, correct? Yes or no, Mr. Mutuse?
The context is...
No,
different.
yes or no, Mr. Mutuse?
It's distinguishable. Very,
yes,
very
yes or no?
The context is very different.
Very good. Now, you say that at this speech, the Deputy President revealed secrets. What specific secrets did he reveal?
He said, and the clip that was played, that he has been told in confidence by officers of the National Police Service. I have been told in confidence that the officers did not receive advanced security information, intelligence on the planned protests.
And this is subject to the Official Secrets Act. You can confirm this.
The oath of office is that if issues are revealed to you in secrecy, you are not supposed to make them public.
And when you made this allegation yourself, who are these officers you're saying made these secrets, gave him these secrets?
The Deputy President, in the clip that we played, from his own mouth, says I have received confidential information from officers of the National Police Service.
Let us play for you a video here, Honorable Speaker, video number 6.
We have the most incompetent Inspector General of Police, I think, in the world. Competence may not necessarily play out when things are working, but when things get to a head and you need some decisions to be made, I can tell you for sure, the gentleman we have as an IG cannot make any decision.
The second one.
Tumwambie ule mtu wa sinema mingi anaitwa nani ule mtu ule sijui anaitwa DCI ule anaitwa nini ule mtu anaitwa Kinoti awache ujinga. Huyo bwana Kiboti awache ujinga. Sio kama tunaelewana. Huyo Kinoti hakuna kitu amefanya kwa hii kesi ya kisiasa. Yeye ni mtu ya sinema. Anaendesha makesi kwa magazeti. Anatuandikia barua, sijui barua ya kilomita ngapi. Mr. Kinoti, please save your time. Stop writing. You have no business in IBC. You have failed as DCI. We don't want you to fail our elections. Tunaelewana? Huyo bwana Kinoti awache hiyo ujinga yake anaendesha pale. Kwa sababu natukasirisha. Huyo bwana Kinoti tunataka tumwambie awachane na watu wa IBC wafanye hiyo uchaguzi. Alipatiwa kazi.
You can stop there.
Yes.
Do you recall in the 2 years the Deputy President has been in office?
Yes.
Where he called any public servant in the security sector awache ujinga?
I don't recall.
Not one.
But I also know.
I'm asking us, I just asked you a simple
question. This was on a campaign trail.
I just asked a simple question. So you don't recall any?
I don't recall.
Yes. Do you recall him ever speaking in that tone to any officer?
I don't recall.
Thank you very much.
And there is no motion.
I'll hand over this, Honorable Speaker, to my colleague, Mr. Victor Swanya-Ogeto.
Now, Council, you have 9 minutes for this witness and the other witness that are going to be called.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and the senators. I'll be very brief. Mheshimiwa Mutusi, I want to refer you to your motion 45I.
Paragraph
1, yeah.
That's paragraph 45.
Paragraph 45, I, yes.
Paragraph 45, I.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you read it for us?
Additionally, and connive with the unscrupulous Ministry of Lands officials to issue an allotment letter to Amonyoro Investments Limited, a company that he owns, to acquire LR 209/12077 and LR 90923, situated at Embakasi, Nairobi, whose value is estimated at 1.5 billion Kenya shillings or thereabouts. After that, this company used the fraudulently acquired documents to support a court case at the expense of the legitimate owner of the property.
Very good. In your allegation, you have alleged that the Deputy President connived with unscrupulous officials of the ministry. Have you placed any evidence to this House or anywhere in the bundles naming those officials?
I did not place, but as far as I can remember, there is information that came through
Mr.
public
Mutusi,
participation.
please, because of time, I think I want you to answer yes or no, so that you can proceed. Have you placed any evidence?
In my motion, no, but in the documents contained in the public participation, yes.
Thank you, Ms. Mutuse. Now, how many letters of allotments were given to Wamunyono investment?
I do not know.
You don't know?
Yes.
Okay. Have you placed to this house any letter of allotment as evidence?
I haven't.
You have not? Okay. I want to refer you to 107, that's volume 3, 107.
Volume 3?
Of your documents, 107.
Just a minute. Page 107.
107, yes. 107. And I want 107. Are you there? That is NLC determination.
Volume 3, page?
Volume 3, page 107.
Volume 3 of our documents or of your document?
Of our documents.
Your documents?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see a letter from the National Land Commission.
Yeah. I want you to read the So do you identify this determination?
Yes, I do.
It's from who?
This is from the National Land Commission, signed by the then chair, Professor Mohamed Swazuri, PhD, OGW, Chairman, National Land Commission.
And when was it signed?
It was signed on the 24th day. I presume this 3 means March of 2016.
2016?
Yes.
At that time, was the deputy president in office?
No, he was not in office.
He was not in office?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so it will have not influenced the ministry officials to give an allotment, true?
Not as deputy president.
Not as deputy president. Very well. I want also to refer you to, before I refer you to the judgment on that matter, I want you to read the determination of the commission, which is in the last page, just last paragraph. Can you read it?
The Commission, having listened to both parties and scrutinized the evidence adduced before it, hereby directs as follows. The lease held by Wamunyoro Investments Limited, LR number 209, 12077, IR number 90923, is upheld, subject to adoption by plenary.
Is upheld.
Subject to.
But is upheld.
Subject to. We read it in whole. Subject to.
Very well.
Adoption by plenary.
Very well. But the determination of NLC have already determined.
It is upheld, subject to adoption by plenary.
Very well. So let me refer you to the judgment of that's ELC case number E242 of 2022, which is page 116.
Page 116.
Yes.
Yes.
I want you to go to the judgment.
170?
177.
177.
Yeah, 177, but I want you to look at 176.
176?
Yeah.
Yes.
176, paragraph 440, right?
That the plaintiff is the lawful registered absolute owner of all that parcel of land known as LR number 209 12077, IR number 90923.
Who is the plaintiff? Who is the plaintiff?
Wamunyoro Investments.
Wamunyore Investment. Okay. And therefore, the judge has determined who is the rightful owner of that property, right? That's right?
Yes, the judge has determined.
Okay. Okay, now, do you want the Senate to further arbitrate on this, on the ownership of this property after that? Is that your position?
Indeed. Our claim is that, as you have referred us...
Is that your position?
Yes.
It is your position?
It is our position.
Even after you've seen the determination, both...
Plenary adoption of the NLC determination. Subsequently, we have made allegations which will be proved that the letter of allotment came long after, and it is the letter that was used to support, to lead the court to make this decision.
Very well. That's all, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much. Yeah.
I thank you.
Counsel for the National Assembly, you may re-examine the witness. But just to remind you, you have 40 minutes to conclude your entire case.
Mr. Speaker, we have no questions in re-examination for this witness, so we propose to call our next witness. That is Dr. Andrew Mulo.
Very well. Now,
if the clock can be frozen.
Next witness. The honorable senators may want to seek for clarification from the witness, so I will allow them to do that. When they're done, then you can usher in your second witness.
Much obliged, Mr. Speaker.